told Foxy it's your birthday, not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
What's going on, everybody? Wow, that was weird. But what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blerdkast Live. Sorry for the little technical issues. We are working that out as we go. But welcome. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
We're good.
Okay, cool. Tonight we got a lot in store. I cannot wait to jump into this one. But before we begin, I would like to introduce my guest. Why don't we go ahead and start up at the very top, opposite of me?
Oh, well.
Mufasa Bear CG, 30-year-old artist, illustrator, designer, creator, concept artist. If it's got something to do with art, I'm that person. So check me out at theartistcg.com. And sometimes on Twitch, but I'm kind of in hiatus right now, so I'll pass it over.
Hey everybody, good evening. My name is Dana Holmes. I am a cosplayer, blurred, foodie, overall techno geek. So anything tech related, computer related, robotics. Hey, I'm your guy.
It's scary. You should stop.
Who's next, Mark?
Mookie.
Mookie.
Oh, my bad. Hey, what's up with it, y'all? It's your boy Mookie. I'm originally from East St. Louis. I'm Atlanta-based now. Raised in Indiana on the east side. I do got a street background. I do represent for the LGBT community. I'd say a lot of what people won't say. I guess I do a lot of people, what a lot of artists in the industry right now can't do because they locked in the closet. I mean, I'm Mookie. I'm us.
Now the question is, were we reading it like it's a manga? Like now it's me?
Right, exactly.
Over there.
That was also my question. Like,
all right, I guess it's on you, Baba Yaga.
Okay, I'm Beauty Baba Yaga, a Power Rangers content creator, huge nerd, queer. That's pretty much it. I got some Power Rangers behind me. I'm just here to have a good time.
All right. Here in the center square, I am Joyride08. Name's Joy Stevens. I am a DE&I consultant by day and a gamer, K-popper, and what else do I do? Anime and other silly things, Dungeons and Dragons type stuff when I'm not working, which is most of my time. And I'm your moderator for the evening. Next, we got Laron.
yes. Hi, my name is Laron Reedus. I run the YouTube channel Reedus 101, where I basically talk about film and media, television, as far as pop culture and how it affects real life, like critiques, analytical pieces, video essays, things like that. As far as other geeky aspects about myself, huge comic book guy, love reading and writing fiction, also into Dungeons and Dragons, video games as well. It's just mostly creating.
Ebony.
Go ahead, Ebony.
Hi, I am Asking Ebony. I am a cosplayer from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm very much into Five Nights at Freddy's, K-drama, K-pop, and I'm also into yaoi and Yuri manga. So,
Nice.
Isaiah.
Well, I guess it is me. Hello, everybody. I'm Isaiah. Cosplayer from Selma, Alabama, which is like a big one because like you don't never find anybody that's from a historic city like mine as a cosplayer. I'm a teacher by day, video gamer, anime watcher by night. I'm huge on HBCU culture, Greek life. pretty much an open book. And I'm a lover of nostalgia. So anything from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, 60s, I'm big on it. 9 out of 10, if you're riding in the car with me, you won't hear anything from today's music. I'm going to be bumping Destiny's Child, SOS Band, some of the other artists. So yeah, so that's me.
And everybody knows me. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just making. He said nostalgia, and then said the '80s, like that wasn't my childhood.
I'll be old as hell, but it's okay.
Like our childhood, Joy. Absolutely.
Well, I'm a child of the 90s.
Like this, maybe my diamond hair. Okay, sorry, Mark. Please continue.
All right, but everybody knows me. I'm Mark. I am the host of Blerdkast. I am the owner of Blerdography, which is a YouTube channel dedicated to highlighting Black and brown nerds across the spectrum in all nerdy spaces. And speaking of nerdy spaces, this is Blerdkast Live in nerdy spaces, queer people in nerdy spaces. If you haven't caught on by now, in tonight's episode, we are going to break down what it's like to be queer in a nerdy space, what are our struggles, what are our pain points, what are our accomplishments, and all in between. And tonight's panel is an interesting panel. We have people from across the entire spectrum, from cosplay to YouTube, content creation, graphic design, and so much more. So I cannot wait to go into this. And as always, I am joined by my very special moderator, Ms. Joy Stevens. Thank you for coming on and doing this one so I can be a guest / host on my own show. But before we begin, please, if you haven't, like and subscribe to Moana Nui podcast on all their social media platforms, as well as Blerdography. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so for as low as $2 a month by becoming a channel member on Blerdography. You can hit the link below if you're watching on my stream. But take it away, Miss Joy.
Whew, okay, so I'm excited to get into these topics tonight. I'm going to try and build up some things, but what I want to start is some. I guess I would call it some intro to you as individuals. So the question I have for everyone on the panel and anybody that wants to jump in can start is first off, when and how did you come out? If you feel like sharing sharing that story, not everybody wants to share that. And what was it like once you were out, also doing nerdy stuff, like specifically cosplaying, going to cons? Because there's being out like to your family and friends and at work, and then there's being out in a space that is already full of people that literally don't know you and may take things. So that's what I'm looking for. Small question. Anybody want to start?
I'll go ahead. I believe I came out when I was 22, and it wasn't great because I hadn't come out to my mother before she died. I came out to my father the next day. He did the fatherly thing and kicked me out. And I've been going off doing my own thing ever since. My art is my lifeline, and I've been keeping up with that for the last, let's see,
You're not late.
25 years. So
Can't start thinking about how old I am. Can't -1.
yeah. Mm-hmm. No, but yeah, no, that's my coming out story. I believe I set the bar low enough for everybody else to have a better one. So you go ahead, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling like I should have jumped right in there and gone first because I have like the really good coming out story, and I don't want to go after something like that. But I'm gonna get it done before someone says something.
Absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair.
I came out when I was like 11, and the reaction of literally everyone that I told was, "Oh yeah, we know," which was kind of frustrating because I wanted a little more like, "Oh really?" Because I had just figured it out. But yeah, I have really cool friends and family, so I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry about that. That's an amazing story. I love the stories that are like, yeah, everybody was cool with it. Like that's the goal, you know. If you don't mind me asking, what year were you born?
I was born in 1992.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right, LeBron, right. I'm like,
people keep being born every year.
When somebody's born, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I just I don't know why I'd asked it that way instead of just saying how old are you. It's the same situation. But when you say 92 and I graduated high school in 91, I'm like, ugh. But I enjoy being 51 because one, I look good.
You do.
And two, there is a level of, experience and, discussion. What is the meme that goes around? Don't talk to me of the witch of the spells. I was there when the mixed craft was whatever it said.
Right.
Whatever. Yeah. I remember, hip hop being born and whatnot, but this is not about me. This is about y'all. And I want to come back to you, Baba Yaga, just a moment about something you said. But anybody else want to talk about anything around either coming out or once you were out, like going out, if you know what I mean, like going to different things?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I guess I came out to my family when I was like 20. My friends kind of like always known. But for me, it was like it's like I'm constantly always coming out. I've been coming out for like the last 18 years because somebody never knew or don't even see me that way because of how I act or my mannerisms, or just because I'm more conservative when it comes to like my sexuality and things like that. So I don't always present myself as gay first. So I'm always finding myself in situations where I have to come out. And it's kind of like irritating to some degree because I have a lot of straight friends and they always introduce me, oh, this is Mark. He's gay, but he's cool. And I'm like, what does that mean? Fun times.
I like to piggyback up on Mark because my first job was in the Navy. So I went in during the era of don't ask, don't tell. So I did not come out until well into my 30s. Like I started publicly like saying, my family knew. Unfortunately, I never told my father. He passed away, but my mother always knew. And it's at the point now where I'm over 40, I'm a bachelor, don't have children, and everyone in my family is like, well, yeah, we can read the tea leaves. Yeah. I'm like, okay, it's not like it's in my family, it's not a big deal. I'm from New York, so it's not a huge deal. So, but as a child of the 80s, coming of age in the 90s, starting adulthood in the late 90s, it's I wish, Baba Yaga, you had your story is beautiful. I can't even imagine. At 11, I was Saturday morning watching cartoons, hopping the trains with my cousins during the summer, going to Coney Island. I could that's a beautiful story, Baba Yaga. Thank you so much for sharing. And that's my story. And like Mark, I'm not stereotypical, whatever, or quote unquote flamboyant. I just, like at work, some people know, other people don't. They're just like, I'm big into sports. Like I said, video games, anime. I just, I do a lot of traveling. I love solo traveling. So if you look at my social feed, you see food, travel, video games, and cosplay. Yep. And thank you.
Oh, I was just, you don't have to end it. I was just saying that's nice. That's cool. It's a very well curated feed. I like that. Anybody else that want to weigh in on this before I move to my next question?
Sure. I'll give a little bit of insight. Oh, well, LaRon, you want to go ahead and take this one? Go ahead, brother.
Sorry, we got started at the same time. It's fine. So, like Mark, there have been multiple times where I came out, like at first small groups, like a couple of close-knit friends and everything like that. And then one day I was just like, screw it. And I decided to record a video and post it on my Facebook like a week before my 23rd birthday, I believe. It was in my mid-20s for sure. But yeah, I just laid it out like, hey, I'm bisexual, still me, things like that. Um, as far as as far as how I am out in the open, as far as like interacting with other people, I mean, if it comes up, it comes up. But at the same time, like I've been out completely when I at around that time. Like I started my YouTube channel, the very first video that I made, I let everybody know, hey, you're about to watch the videos of a black bisexual man. I hope you're ready. And that was about 9 or 10 years ago. So yeah, I'm very open, and considering the type of content that I make, especially with my latest video about respect versus respectability with like different queer villains in media and things like that. That's pretty like queer media, like me talking about queer theory in media and everything because of a movie buff is pretty much my bread and butter. So if they didn't know that I was queer before, they'll find out eventually.
Yeah. You'll learn today.
Exactly.
And that actually ties into what I want to come back to Yaga about. And but I want to hold it because I want to give everybody else a chance. Because Isaiah, I want to hear what you got to say because you were ready to jump in. So
sorry about that, by the way.
No, you're good. Trust me. This is gonna sound a little unconventional for me when I say this. I don't like the term coming out because it feels like I'm being forced out of something. You pulling me out of a closet. Well, there was never a closet to begin with. I use the term, like I told my parents, I'm inviting you into my life. That's what I am. I'm inviting you into my space because I don't have to personally tell you anything about me. I can just live my life as I want to. But I took time enough to invite you in to learn more about me. So that's the way I look at it. Now, granted, do I have the most loving and amazing coming out inviting in story? No, because I grew up as a PK. So, and it's very untraditional because I had to hide. I had to move. I had to navigate the church space. So, and being that I had to wear multiple masks and had to put on an image because you being that your parent is the pastor of the church is like, oh, it's so draining. So imagine it draining. But however, later in life when I got like my late 20s after I finished grad school and all that stuff, I invited them in or whatever. My parents, of course, like we already knew. We just waiting on you. I'm like, well, that makes things a little bit easier. But at the same time, though, I will say this. There are certain things I will divulge with them and certain things I will not out of respect because my parents were honest with me and say, I may not agree, however, but I love you enough as my son to respect, and whatnot. And we move on from there. We love each other down. It is what it is. I still have my mom pick out a shoe for her outfit because I'm not gonna let her come out the house looking a mess. I talk to my dad. We have good conversations and whatnot, and it comes to that. And I had to do a lot of unpacking and unlearning of behaviors. But I will say this: a good therapist will help you through that. So sitting on somebody's couch or getting on somebody's camera and having that appointment.
That Isaiah, brother, therapy in my 20s saved my life.
Hello? Let's go ahead and talk about that because that's actually one of the next question I was going to have is like after all of this. No, Daddy, come on back off mute because I want to hear the rest of the story. What is your take? What is your involvement, engagement with mental health, and what journeys are you on individually? We'll start with Dr. Holmes.
Yeah, it may sound cliche, but it's not, especially for Black people, Black America in this country. And we are subjected to mental stress, strain, 27 hours out of the day.
Yeah.
We are. And what pushed me to therapy was my father passed away at a young age. He was 55 when he passed away. And I tell people this all. I am a daddy's boy. I was my father's shadow. My mother hated it. I was his shadow, and my uncles will tell you the same thing. Everywhere Damon went, I was there with him. I mean, it was just it's just I mean, I'm the only child, but it hurt me that I kept such a huge part of my identity away from him, because growing up in New York in the 80s and 90s, I was exposed to queer black people, queer people in general, like the sky is blue. Nothing can on the subways, on the streets, in schools, in public spaces, restaurants, museums, whatever. We used to go all the time, go to Broadway shows, and in the New York City public schools, we were introduced to queer and same gender loving people, and for me as a child, it wasn't a thing, but I in the black community, it is a that what Isaiah talked about, how he had to wear a mask and hide. We as black people, black Americans specifically in this country, through through Christianity and patriarchy and white supremacy, we cannot express our full selves freely without repercussion in this country, unfortunately.
I definitely agree. And I just want to touch on something too. You hit a couple of nerves and stuff. I ain't get to touch on the coming out thing. Is what it is. But when it comes to just having all that pressure, all you and stuff, like he kept saying putting on a mask and stuff. That's what I represent, wholly. Then, masculine in the, industry and stuff, doing what I do. But, being considered, a certain type of way and looked at a different type of way, it was like pick a side, It was either, you flamboyant or you DL, you know what I'm saying? Like living with a girlfriend, having kids, building a family that way just to be approved of your parents, So, definitely hit some. It's mental health wise, it's definitely strenuous, I'm a father, what I'm saying? I have a son and stuff like that, and raising a child and stuff, you want to expose them to everything and, and make sure you're doing things the right way, but, when I grew up, it was totally different. It was just like pick a side, that's just how it was,
And in my therapy journey, I had to unpack a lot of anger, because I was angry because when my father passed away, I wasn't there. I missed the funeral. I was in the Navy. We were deployed. I had to. We were coming back from deployment, and it was just. It was 2002, the year after September 11th. So it was a tense time for everybody. So and it just grew. It metastasized in me, and then a year later, I got out. I was like, and I found while I was in New York at the unemployment office at the Department of Veteran Services. I must have been. I was loud, and a black woman. I will always love black women. She referred me to a black therapist who was attached to NYU School of Medicine, and at the time I was a student at NYU. So yeah, I really that really saved my life. I unpacked a whole lot of stuff, but I unpacked a lot of anger. Just this burning rage. It sounds cliche. It feels like a start of my villain arc in an anime where I'm the anti-hero, but still,
you make a good point, because a lot of villain arcs start from someone being rejected, not being understood, wanting so much to, change themselves that they're willing to destroy the world for it. So yes, it could very much be a villain origin story.
And I prefer villains over so-called heroes. So that's hey,
heroes be whack.
They are whack. They
rules
are.
and all.
Exactly.
I don't kill people. That's why, like one of my favorite superheroes is Wonder Woman. She will kill a motherfucker. I'm sorry.
Black Adam. One of the reasons I like that Black Adam movie is because he's like, I kill people.
Yes, right.
What you doing?
But I'm sorry, Mark, for cursing, but forgive me. But yeah, that's I was in therapy for 4.5 years, and it helped a lot. It really did, and plus it gave me insight to how to be more receptive of people. I had to be more understanding, empathetic, to be able to put myself in other people's shoes or situations. Because back in the 80s and 90s, therapy, psychotherapy was very, very taboo. Very taboo.
And it was still taboo in the Black community.
Yes, it was, and plus it was unaffordable.
Yeah,
for the most part.
That's that part.
Yes.
How many of you, just by show of hands, have had therapy or have touched on it in some way?
In some way, yeah.
So I had the negative therapy because it was religion based, but yeah.
Wait, say that again?
I had the negative therapy because it was centered around religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was
I thought that was always my therapy.
Don't want to get into that now. I'm going to hold that because that could be a take us out kind of conversation. But I want earlier, there was discussion around. I think Mookie, was it you or was it LaRon? Somebody on this side of me that said it was talking about movies, being a movie buff and being representation. Was that you, LaRon?
That was probably me, more than likely.
Okay. So I want to tie that to beauty. Should I call you Beauty or Baba Yaga?
Beauty works.
Beauty. Okay. So Beauty earlier said that your coming out story was very came out, everybody was kind of cool with it. And also that you're, from my point of view, in a younger generation than I am. So let's talk representation.
Okay.
What I want to talk about is, what have you seen? How have you seen it grow as far as authentic queer representation in movies, music, video games, etc.? Because I've seen some intentioned. I can't say if it was well intentioned or not. I've seen some stuff.
It's called.
I've seen things that I think are more accurate depictions, and especially start with people that might be in the older generations. How do you think that sets up those conversations for Beauty or Isaiah, who may be in the younger generation, so they can have that better conversation, so it's not getting put out, etc. But let's start representation. What have y'all seen, and how has it gotten better or worse?
Well, to start off, the type of representation that you're referring to in regards to ones that doesn't seem like true representation, that's a beast that was created by what a lot of people like to call rainbow capitalism. So it's it's the reason why a lot of businesses change their icon specifically for Pride Month and then change it right back. And now, thanks to the 47th presidential cabinet, they don't even have to do that anymore. So it's more along the lines of, is this palpable for everybody so that everybody can be happy? And in putting everything in that box, it kind of limits what our representation can be. Because one thing's true about queer people as it is about straight people. Some of them are good and some of them suck. Some of them are heroes and some of them are villains, because just because your sexuality is different doesn't mean that it might change your motivations, certain degrees and everything like that. But I feel that as far as true representation, I have seen movies that have been brave enough to not depict queer people as specifically either as a victim or a
caricature.
Exactly, a caricature. And that's been and that's been very refreshing. It still happens, obviously, because rainbow capitalism is going to rainbow capitalism. And whether or not some other countercultures and things might have had a hand in that, it depends. It depends on your point of view on that aspect. But at the same time, four of my favorite drag queens are drag race queens. So it's like, and I don't even watch it like that. So it depends on aspects of how genuine was this character in the creation process. That is where, like, was there, just like we like to say, was there a black person in the room when a TV show featuring a black person is like Alex Cross, for example, is on air. Even though I love James Patterson, he's still a white dude. And which is why I was glad to see that, there were black people in the writer's room for Alex Cross. It's kind of the same when it comes to both, of course, black folk and also queer folk as well. And and it definitely helps if there is intersectionality in different ethnicities and things like that, and cultures, and how that reflects. It's very those stories are also important. But we're allowed to be POSs. we're allowed to be complex.
That's, to me, that's how you know that you have escaped the box of discrimination, is when you can be mediocre, you can be a butthole, you can be regular and average, and not have to be representative of your demographic, or be perfect and never make a mistake. Be one person in a whole different city does something and everybody's blamed for it. That's how marginalization works.
Your existence should be representation enough. The fact that you are alive right now is proof that you deserve representation.
And it's interesting that you brought up like 4 of your favorite drag queens are from RuPaul's Drag, because I adore RuPaul's Drag Race myself. But there are people within the LGBTQ community that think it is buffoonery. Me, I got all my makeup tips from there because I didn't know what I was doing. And also there are some very heartfelt and like really poignant moments that I think are worth people's story getting out there on that show. But I also am old enough to remember the tongue pop was non-intentional. Fu Wong Fu, thanks for everything.
Yes.
That movie just celebrated its 25-year anniversary. The 3 main characters, far as I know, were all, none of them were drag queens. It's Wesley Snipes. Wesley freaking Snipes.
Not Zima.
And I loved him for it because he was a martial artist and an action hero, and he was like, I'll go play with this, which I thought, even though nowadays we would say find an actual drag queen to play a drag queen, but at that time it was a big deal for Patrick Swayze. Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze.
He just came off of Dirty Dancing.
Exactly.
Yes.
And John Leguizamo, who was a comedian, I remember him being a comedian, but also that boy was so pretty.
Little boy in
drag. Why are you crying?
To piggyback off of LaRon, I remember the documentary Paris is Burning. I remember that the ballroom scene, the ball scene. I remember my uncles and my father and my aunties back they were talking about that. They remember back in the 70s, they used to go to those things. It wasn't so taboo that that was, especially because ballroom culture is Black culture.
Yeah, it is.
That's people forget that a lot of the dances you see are taken from ballroom, and they go to mainstream Black culture, and then just propagate it out into the quote unquote mainstream culture.
Because
Yes.
whacking is just voguing very fast.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The
And
old
breaking,
way.
remember breaking in the 80s. I used to break that. That was a form of voguing. That was form of ballroom. You
All
know,
the freezes.
Yes, absolutely. Doing the robot, pop locking and drop. Yes, all of that. That, and thank God we are in June is Black Music Month. So we celebrate Black music in the month of June. So yeah, so it all comes full circle,
Yeah.
So yeah, but I just want to I remember that fully, and I remember it was such a big deal. You remember the original 90210 back on Fox?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when the Matt he kissed the dude? It was so. Dude, you would have thought, it broke America.
It was like right up there with like, I'm exaggerating, but it was like right up there with Princess Di. Like everybody's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And also a lot of ballroom drag culture you saw pop up in America's Next Top Model. Love it or hate it for what it was, it did show up in a lot of the photo shoots and a lot of the things that Tyra made those women do. Those
contestants.
The contestants, yeah, those yeah, it was top. It was top. It was off the wall, crazy, but still, yeah. That you saw a lot of the makeup, the scenes, I remember one scene about crunking. They did the Bay Area crunking scene, and I remember that. So yeah, but yeah, it's all yeah. But our my OG gay representation has always been Ian Polk, and also Noah's Ark. Remember when Noah's Ark first came? You remember when that had a representation of all black gay men, from flamboyant to quote unquote masculine or DL or whatever. It had. There has never been another show like that. There has never been another show like that, because unfortunately black gay representation is always one-sided, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I just want to touch on something before y'all change the subject. Speaking of one-sided, I just noticed that every time it's a conversation in the room, when it comes to the community, it's so much light that's shed on femininity, or I'm saying that type of gay or bisexual or whatever, but that's not all of it. I just don't know why the masculinity is never really congratulated unless it's a lust thing, or what I'm saying, like lusting over a straight guy or something like that.
Yes, absolutely, Mookie.
It's
Absolutely.
really
Absolutely.
Really making it die down, and we talk about representation for our community, but we don't really shed light. We really don't boost our masculine men in the community.
That's true. That is true.
And it's crazy. It's really crazy. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. You're 100% right.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that. Like we were talking about representation in the queer space, and as a black gay man, I don't feel well represented in the media that I consume, because, like Mookie just said, a lot of the focus is always on the feminine aspects of masculine queer culture and things like that. And you leaving masculine to the side, or either you make it more for the adult entertainment section of it, but like in just regular media, I'm sitting here thinking this whole time, like in comic books, video games, animation, live action movies, whatever, it's not too many people who are black and queer that I can personally relate to. And I don't know why, because like I'm, when I think of myself, I just think of myself as a normal guy who just likes other guys. Like, and I've been told that that's a controversial thing to say, but again, we'll get there. But I don't feel real represented in media.
It's discouraging for us, y'all.
Yeah.
Right.
That make us not really want to come out or be ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't really get the same congratulations or the same light shed on us. You know what I mean? That's just being real. So And
I do a whole presentation on binary thinking, where people believe it's either this way or that way and nothing in between. So either you are straight masculine or gay feminine and nothing in between, including the women. You know, it just reverses the sides.
Right.
But the only person that I can think of in recent history, if it's even recent anymore, is Omar from The Wire.
Yes. Omar Little, right? Yes,
Yep.
Omar Little. Yes. And also, remember the show on HBO, The 6 Feet Under? The black cop. What was his name?
The one with David.
Yes, Dave and his boyfriend, the black cop. Yes,
right.
It was Peter Krause. Nate. Peter Krause. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
But I mean, the fact that we're like stretching our brains trying to find it shows you like that. And I got a theory on that, but I'm gonna hold that because Beauty, I saw you come off of mute a second ago, and I want to make sure I got to you.
I was just gonna talk about how I think the reason gay men are always represented in media as effeminate gay men is the marriage of homophobia and patriarchy. Like the masculine is the better one. So if we want to we have to put some gay people in there, but we want to make them look less powerful. Let's make them more feminine. Like there's no such thing as a masculine gay guy because then they have too much power.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot.
And they use that for Baba Yaga for like comedic effect to be the comedic sidekick, you know.
You're a joke. You don't get a partner at the end. You're just the gay best friend. You're there.
Yes, exactly.
Do y'all see what Diddy going through right now?
Wait.
Okay, so moving on.
Wait, what?
Ebony, haven't heard from you. Is there anything you want to add from your perspective?
One thing that I can say, my grandmother was very open as far as like me being, aware of queer representation or queer media in general. So of course I was brought up on Tu Wan Fu. I would say the queer representation that probably stood out to me most was Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes, classic.
Yes, that was very much a classic. That was like my first ever night film that I ever went to, which was very experienced. And, I met a lot of different people, ironically, a lot of cosplayers within the community. And it was a very welcoming and opening experience, and which got me more comfortable to, be more open with my sexuality.
And you're right. I think for a lot of people, especially if you were born at the end of last century, Rocky Horror Picture Show was already a cult thing, a cult classic in the early 2000s. But it also, for a lot of people, was their first foray into cosplay because here's this thing, and then you want to be Dr. whatever his name is,
Frankenfurter. Yep.
Yes, Frankenfurter. Yeah. Which your boy that does it, I should know this better because I've seen it like 5 times, but I never can remember his name.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Shout out to Tim Curry. He is one of the most underrated actors. I saw him in Legend. Remember, he played the in Legend. I wanted to do that cosplay so bad. Yes, oh my God.
He's underrated and underappreciated for sure.
Amen.
I knew him. My first sighting of him was as Rooster in Annie.
Yes. Easy Street. Yeah.
And then I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show. I saw it out of order. But anyway, so yeah, there's that representation. I know that, like, to your point, Laurent, about what you call it, rainbow capitalism.
Yes.
I remember, like, in my mind, it happened back to back to back, like The Crying Game and Madam Butterfly and I'm trying to think of some other like dramatic movies that were groundbreaking at the time,
right?
Because they show frontal nudity, right, of a male figure, which oh God, save the children. But I think I didn't see any of that when I was young, and I thought that of those two that I just named, they were nuanced portrayals, even if they weren't 100% accurate.
Right.
they were people with complex emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They were centered in the story, and they weren't somebody's sidekick or comic relief, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you missed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all you're here now. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
I remember not remember. I was too young for the Crying Game, but researching the Crying Game and like
Right.
when I say
Right,
that,
Joy.
it's more along the lines of when I say research in this regard, just like how other people reacted to the reveal and everything, like and how they're, you know,
it was crazy to see how visceral the reaction was to seeing the like first representation of somebody non-binary in a movie, in the light that it led. Because that's another thing about movies. Oftentimes are the first exposure to anything. Movies and TV. So to put that particular person, which later on that actor became was in Stargate.
That I did not know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they were the villain in Stargate.
They were the
The
villain in
original
Stargate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, the original Stargate. Okay.
Yeah, the movie.
Well, can I provide some insight, please?
Sure.
Representation for media when it comes down for especially queer persons of color. I kind of got my exposure first starting out with Men on Film skit from Living Color.
Yeah.
So that kind of started it from there. Then I, just trying to find some different things. Of course, I watched Noah's Ark. Then, I would guess for seeing a black masculine character come to the forefront would have to be Moonlight.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love Moonlight.
Yes,
I cried so hard.
Because in that case it was like, here it is. You got somebody who got in, that all throughout the movie or whatever. Then towards the end of the movie, you see this black masculine character that's driving around with around the hood car, got the real gold in front. Mind you, that was for anybody like me at the time. I was, thank you. But when you look at it from an aspect of even with the ballroom culture, when I tell you the first show I really, really cried at was Pose when it first came out.
That's another one too.
Yeah, like when Pose when officially dropped, I was like in my bed, boohoo crying because like, thank you. Because now I finally found a character that I could relate to. Like I could see myself in Damon. I saw myself in him. Like it was because growing up in a house and your parents was like, oh, you're not gonna do this, you can't do that, but seeing somebody actually escape and go be himself and truly, and then the thing is the boy went to school. His adopted family went to school. He made sure that he was in the schoolhouse. So seeing that was really empowering for me. Like even not to this day, like you got Jamel Simon in the Upshaws now. You know what I'm saying? You got those kind of characters there, but at the same time, but even in the media, if you really want to be honest about it, it was in our faces the whole time. Especially like if you were an avid reader, The Color Purple was really a favorite example of that.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So like, and when people were was shocked to find out about the character dynamics between Whoopi Goldberg and Sugar.
That's how you know you didn't read. Yeah.
Every iteration.
Oh no!
The movie came out. The movie came out twice.
Yeah. Let's go back. The Women of Brewster Place. Remember?
Yes.
Yes.
I also remember, and this is just me because I used to watch a lot of primetime television. Will and Grace.
Oh
yeah.
Ooh.
I loved Will and Grace. But I also thought that they were very much stereotypical characters. The professional, neurotic, nervous, OCD gay guy, and the super flamboyant, can't keep a job, always trying to be a theater kid gay guy, like two archetypes.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mad at it,
Ooh.
See, now is a whole different generation.
Down in the valley where the there's
a lot going on in there.
I'm still waiting on season 3. I want to fight. Come on.
Wait, hang on. So I want to know. I want to make a point. Y'all are free to agree or disagree with me, but I think we moved from like a lot of minority groups, you move from the caricatures and the stereotypes into more nuanced characters, into more normalized characters, so that you end up with better representation. But there is kind of a gauntlet that you have to go through. Like, I don't think we get Pose without Tu Wong Fu, and to some extent without RuPaul's Drag Race bringing category is to the mainstream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what you just described,
I fell in love with Harold Perrineau in Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
And what you just described is the butting heads of respect versus respectability.
Talk about it.
So it's more along the lines of, yes, you are absolutely right. Will was more the professional. He was, you couldn't, unless he actually said that he was gay, you couldn't tell. But he was still prim and proper, and he still had aspects about him that other people, that heteronormative still associate with homosexuality, and like as far as the eccentricness of it. But at the same time, he was mostly professional. And then Jack was and it was just like, in one aspect, you can see how both of them are how both aspects of the extremes are necessary, because it allows you to pretty much set the gauge at whatever volume you need it to be in order for you to have a pleasant listening experience. However, other people who are either walking around your car, turning the corner of your house while you have your windows open, playing your music, or just walk down the street while you're just hanging out with your friends, will look at all of that and be like, "You're too loud for me."
You talking about colonizers and gentrifiers. That's what you're talking about, because I can relate to Will and Grace, because how you gonna be in New York City, but you only see that one black dude?
Yeah.
Right.
No. People have friends.
No.
They never went to
I you know what? I Will and Grace, the L word, queer as folk. You take place in these major urban metropolitan heavily black and people of color cities, yet you do not see them, not even as background characters in the cafes or bars.
Because once again, as you mentioned, it's about control. It's about control. If I can persuade this one group of people that this type of subgroup of people is worth more respect than the other, then we can get them to butt heads. And that's how you get the ones and that's how you get people who want respect. And this is not just in queer folk. This is in ethnicity, gender, anything like that. So you have the ones that understand that we demand respect. Once again, because of the fact that I exist, I should have a significant amount of respect. It doesn't matter what I do, unless it's extreme, like murder and whatever. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do, how I behave. I'm going to respect the way that you are, so you should respect the way that I am. And then you have respectability, where you do what you can to have your otherness fit within that mold that they require for you in order to continue to exist. In which case, if you were ever birthed into that system, or you were raised a certain way, you would look at individuals who demand queer respect regarding what they do, and you'll go like, "You're the reason why they won't give us rights."
Because they aren't palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the same thing in you see it in queer communities. You see it amongst women. You see it with people of color. Your loudness, if you will, is stopping us from moving forward. When loud or quiet, it don't matter.
My next video I'm releasing is about female respect versus respectability, actually.
Or you hear the term thrown around, especially in black spaces. "Oh, you're ghetto."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You know what?
Go ahead, Joy.
We're not even going to talk about the whole ghetto thing. Not that I'm trying to silence that conversation, but just like we do have to at some point get off the air, and I'll get other stuff that I'm still going to talk to y'all about, and that will go on. That could possibly go on forever. So we've touched on this a little bit, and I think that everybody tends to have a story, and I want to talk about the frustration of religion because we haven't even gotten into the nerd spaces yet. We're just talking about just being in the LGBTQ community, but the frustration of religion when you try to live in that environment, you know. We got preacher kids on here. You know, I was in the choir for a long time. I can't tell you last time I've been to church for multiple reasons, but I'm pretty sure that we all have that story of why it was wrong, and I think we might understand it. I'd like to know if any of you have gone back into church or have changed your relationship with organized religion or spirituality or what have you. Like, what has been your journey from can't believe somebody said this to me to okay, now I'm praying or what have you? Just interested in that.
The only time I've ever entered a church after I came out or practiced religion is out of research for a book I'm writing.
Okay.
I just have vivid flashbacks of being called an abomination by my family. If I do gay stuff, you're just an abomination. And now they're all like, hey, let me borrow some money since you make so much money. I'm like, no, get away from me.
I'll go to Notre Dame to admire the Gothic architecture and to go to the location that inspired my favorite Disney musical. But I won't be seeing God Help the Outcasts in there.
And that the only time I've ever gone, I haven't been to I was raised Baptist, but when I went into the world, I practice African spiritual religion. And so the only time I will go into a quote unquote church is either a wedding or, a few years ago, 7 years ago, I was in Italy, went to Rome and Vatican City. And I was like, oh, this is what this is. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, that's it. Or to a funeral. But other than that, that's it. That's it. That is it.
I just went to Italy. My family is not religious, and there did come a point where like all of that art and history is really interesting and really beautiful. But by the time we actually got into the Vatican Museum and we were in the like Christian section where it's just like Jesus and Mary, Jesus and Mary, Jesus and Mary, all of us were like, I'm having a really hard time enjoying this because I have seen so many pictures of Jesus and I'm just thinking about all of the bad things that these pictures are not showing. And last time I went to an actual church like mass, the preacher got ugly and said some things, and I was like, I was taking a friend, and I was like, yeah, I'm not taking you anymore. I can't do that.
Yeah, it amazes me how people, not all Christians, just like not all men, not all white folks, and not all Christians, but enough of them for it to be a thing.
Yep.
Will try to shame, bully, and berate you into loving their version of God.
I'm glad you said their version too, because a lot of Christians are fandom Jesus and not canon Jesus. So it's kind of funny that people weaponize it. It's not even funny, it's control. My mother was an evangelist, but she was raised by a Baptist man who didn't believe women should be in the pulpit. So you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a method of control, and quite frankly, like the more you talk about organized religion versus what actually is taught, it's like you're talking two different.
Yes.
Also, they killed, the main character. So
they did. They went straight Game of Thrones and killed the main character.
Yeah, like
wow.
So at the same time, we admonish them. We admonish the thought of fanning Jesus, but then we weaponize fan of Jesus. So,
Ooh, Jesus. Ooh. Hey.
Yes.
Hung out with prostitutes.
Jesus would have been in the cast of Pose as that dude that always seemed to have cornbread on him, and we don't know where he got it. Like that would have been his role.
Also, get into the fact that nobody really talks about David and Jonathan's relationship.
Say that louder.
David and Jonathan, they were homosexuals. He went down on that man in that hey.
They were Timothy too.
God did what?
He was kneeling for the Lord. Kneeling for the Lord.
Kneeling.
Yes.
Sure.
They were doing mission. They were doing mission work.
Mission. Yes.
So,
wow.
Wait. That's Old Testament Bible too, by the way. It's Old Testament.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
trust me. That's why I'm saying I'm because I lived it, so I know.
Were you talking about James' comment about the choir director?
When you hear
put up that James, put up that comment one more time. Says in the Black community, the choir director is praised, but the rest of the LGBTQ community is dismissed.
Right.
And it is a stereotype that the choir director is gay. However,
but the music ministry is where all the music kids are. So what you mean?
Yeah, you're right. It's musical theater.
Music theater. I mean, it's up there in robes.
Right. Descending from backstage.
Well, you might want to have them in a robe. You might need them in a robe because I'm not gonna lie. Some of their outfits when they came in church was we're not the best. Who told you plum and red go together today? And I don't know who told you that.
Can I just add it? I hate wearing the suit every Sunday. I hated it.
Oh, trust me, I get
it. And what is that? Like prosperity gospels.
Yes.
Why do I have to keep this tie on? I'm not going to a job interview.
All of that.
Why is there no AC in this 180-year-old building that we have a church fund for?
So we've been giving to the building fund for 20 years and ain't no building.
Ain't no door knob on the bathroom.
I see. Pastor Johnson got a nice Chrysler. Oh, it's Cadillac.
That's the building fund y'all was building.
Yeah, first lady 27. These look nice today,
right?
I want to jump into the second half of the title, which is queer people in nerdy spaces. And we touched on a little bit of like representation in different movies and whatnot. And when I was at MomoCon, I actually, matter of fact, James picked this up for me, a autograph, small, what do you call it? Comic book of all of the queer characters that had been in Star Trek throughout the.
I'm a Trekkie. Are we about to do this? I'm a Trekkie hard down core.
Go for it. So
same.
I like that. One, at least in what was it, Discovery, I believe.
Yeah.
You have queer characters that is just a thing. I mean, it's the year 5055 or whatever, and so don't nobody care about this no more. You got you got other aliens asexually reproducing, so like a little bit of everything is represented. And
I think I read somewhere that's what Gene Roddenberry wanted from the start,
yes.
but they were like,
but remember in the 60s, 70s, 80s, remember Star Trek: The Next Generation. Remember the character Dax. Remember, remember what that was. Yes, that was controversial. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Even in the 90s, that was to some folks that was a bridge too far.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, remember in the 60s, they had the first interracial kiss on.
I was about to say,
TV, and back then that was a bridge too far.
Exactly.
So the backstory for that is Captain Kirk wanted the kiss to be in a movie, and they kept trying to cut it. So every other take where they didn't have him kiss her, he would flub that take just so the only usable film before they ran out of budget was the one with him kissing her. Which okay, William Shatner, I see you.
William Shatner.
Mm-hmm. He may be a jerk in a lot of other ways, but he had that.
He did that one good thing. I like that one. So
that's an example of using your privilege for good, because he was William freaking Shatner. Ain't nobody gonna tell him what to do. And he's like, I will mess up all your film till you give me what I want.
Yeah.
So thank you for using your privilege for a purpose. But there's a lot more characters now that, again, when we talk about nuance, when we talk about complex relationships, not just the one gay character, but him and his husband, and both of them are integral to the staff. And seeing your spouse go off to fight or almost die and come back, like all of that, or die, all of that was dealt with in I thought a very real and touching way. But I was glad to see that it wasn't just the same, trope, like nobody fell out on the floor or something stupid like that. But Beauty, you had something to add.
Did I?
Or Ebony, I saw somebody look like they leaned forward and I missed it.
I got something I want to add.
Go ahead, Mark.
So since we're talking about Star Trek and I got some Star Trek adjacent, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with the show Orville, but it's like, a parody of Star Trek. They introduced a class of aliens that when I saw this, I was like, okay, finally Black queer representation that I like. And that's the Mocklins. On the ship, they have a breed of aliens that are called Mocklins. They're all male, so obviously they're all big, rough, tough, masculine men, and they procreate or, they marry other men. And that was like the first time in science fiction or in anything I've seen where I was like, I finally feel seen or heard or represented in some kind of way. But all that is because of the groundwork that Gene Roddenberry laid with Star Trek. So that's why I want to add that. But go ahead.
Okay. Ebony? Did you have something to add? Oh.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So let me go to one other thing that I wanted to touch on, because I think we could go back to like religion bleeds into like homophobia in the Black community, and actually in all communities. And I think we understand that. I want to get into something a little bit more on the nerdy stuff, and that is cons, cosplay, characters. I need another C, and confetti. I don't know. And so talk to me about if you cosplay, and if you are a convention frequenter, talk to me about your experience knowing who you are and then being in that space. Because you like you mentioned earlier, Mark, you don't want to have to come out all the time, and doesn't really matter if you're playing a Power Ranger. Like, who cares, or who should care? But you're still a gay person or a non-binary person or what have you, in a space that sometimes they don't realize you're there, or sometimes the environment itself isn't welcoming. And so I'm interested in what your experiences have been, good and bad. It doesn't all have to be past trauma. Somebody can be like, I had a really good time. So talk to me.
I got a funny story about that. I think, what year was it? Dragon Con 2023 or 2024? Chris, I think you was there, where they did the Black Geeks of Dragon Con panel. And I had a moment where I was speaking because I was on the panel, and I was talking about acceptance and finding myself in Black nerdy spaces at conventions and stuff. I almost outed myself during that whole thing unintentionally. Because I was just speaking from the heart and having a passionate moment, and I had to pause and stop myself. And then I didn't like come out, but I was just like, oh, I found myself in whatever. Then I got the ovation, everybody clapped. And then one of my fans, Antonio, he was there, and he was like, huh, you almost came out, didn't you? To the whole room with 300 people. So that was kind of funny. Because my thing is, like, I struggle with like acceptance, especially with my queerness and my Blackness, because they don't always get along when you grow up Black and queer. Sometimes you gotta hide who you are. And when I finally got into the Dragon Con space or the convention space, found my way in cosplay photography, started networking with other people, meeting people like Cosplay Your Way, Bar Fox and Walter Dean, and so many other people, and just opening up my mind and trying to detoxify my own upbringing and experience of being Black and queer. It took a lot to get used to. I'm still getting used to it. Hell, I even talked to Chris a lot, because I learned a lot from him about like healthy masculinity within Black queer spaces, because when I'm hanging out with him and his crew of people, I'm like, this is not how even Black queer people in Atlanta act. What are y'all doing that's not so like draining and toxic, and like y'all just happy to be around each other. But if I do this with any of my queer friends in Atlanta, it's just a mess. So I've learned a lot about myself through these geeky convention spaces of all places, because it's the only place where I feel like I don't have to watch my back. I don't have to keep my walls up. I don't have to like judge like, okay, is you an enemy? Is you a friend? Is you somebody I can confide in? Or are you going to use this as a weapon formed against me in the future type of thing? And I'm 37, about to be 38 years old, and I'm still getting comfortable with saying I'm gay and just even doing stuff like this. Like LeBron, you said you purposely make videos about queerness and your blackness on your channel. This is rare for me. The fact that I'm doing this and this live on my channel, I never thought I would be having some type of discussion like this about Black queerness or just queerness in general on my channel, because I feel kind of prudish about talking about these things. But I've found a community of people who have helped me understand a lot more better about myself, and it's all because of conventions.
That's beautiful.
Yes, Mark, amen. Mark, amen, brother. Amen.
I know for us Black gay folk, we have to navigate multiple sectors of life. All right, like, as somebody that's been gay bashed on multiple occasions, it's hard to navigate your queerness while being Black and trying to honor both and walk in tandem. Trauma will make you pause. Trauma will make you stop. But when you get around the right people and they uplift you, and you can be yourself 100%, then that's where the magic happens. Because there is no stress. You know, being affirmed around fellow queer people when you can just really not be put on, because a lot of people put on in these in gay spaces. I worked at a gay hip hop bar for 8 years. And everybody was, you remember the Wiz, you gotta be seen green, you change your color to get red. Everybody was trying to be seen green instead of actually being seen.
Side note, if you haven't seen The Wiz, it is the best representation of the Wizard of Oz, right next to the recent movie.
Wicked.
Navigating that, the person that goes to Pride and they have to take off all their Pride shit before they get on the bus or on the subway. Or when you get around people that you can be your authentic self, you'll never want to go back to. And in those queer spaces, being at MomoCon and Dragon Con and all the other cons, the people who are othered become the normal. And that's a great feeling.
But I'm still getting used to that. Like, I'm not used to being normal. I'm used to being the outcast. Like, that's weird. That's a weird adjustment.
I mean, I think that's fair, considering, I mean, it's all your personal, okay, people in the chat, we will not be dissing people because they have not seen The Wiz. Wiz was honestly a cult classic that came out 40 something years ago. So, let people live their life. We're not going to do that. But Mark, like you were talking about, you still feel like weird or a type of way about it because it's so unusual for you. The way to get used to something is to keep doing it. And that way you become more and more comfortable. Don't look, you see me talking to you. You look more and more comfortable being uncomfortable until it becomes second nature, until the way things are that make you happy, you don't feel weird being comfortable,
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
That's true. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Yeah.
And I think for any of us on here, we've been in situations where some aspect of our identity was not it, right? When we walk in the room. And I think that's something that we all, yeah, you know what?
I was waiting for that.
Look, we needed the comedic relief. That was funny.
That's some unintentional gay representation in Mulan. Because Shang is definitely bi. There's no way he's not. He falls for pink.
He was having a straight up bi panic attack through half the movie. Like, this can't be. And you know what? That is actually something that I think is worth a discussion. Is people, in a nutshell, I'm gonna wrap up like 2,000 years worth of information. In a nutshell, most societies, most cultures recognize multiple forms of sexual and gender expression, two different things. It was all good. Christianity came through with a wrecking ball that said, you will not do this. And so everything that was touched by Christian colonists was perverted into this binary male, female only, Adam and Eve, and Adam and Steve, all that nonsense. And so you see a lot of repression. You can see it in the artwork of different nations where there's multiple, Greece being the most famous, but there's African art, there's Asian art, there's Indian art, all these places that show you just people enjoying being around each other, regardless of gender.
I forget if it's which type of indigenous, but it's definitely the one. It's definitely in the Mexico area. Like, they literally have a god of queer people.
Shut your mouth and keep on talking.
Yeah. So it's like I believe, like, this is, I'm just going off the top of my head. Don't quote me on this. I believe because of the trauma and the oppression that he felt in real life, when he passed or when he ascended, like, he decided to become the patron of those so that they wouldn't suffer, I guess.
That is so lovely.
That's beautiful.
I'm trying to look that up. Oh, okay. He's an Aztec god.
Aztec god, yes.
Xochipilli. I think that's how you say it. Or it's XO, so I'm going to say Xochipilli.
All right, Joy. Thank you for looking that up for us.
But as actually goes through, like, an Aztec god, there's a Chinese deity specifically for gay love, Tu-Er Shin. You got Apollo in Greek mythology, and Artemis, and Hermaphroditus, who we all understand where that came from. And then you also have, there's a few more.
Dionysus.
Pan.
And
right in plain sight. And Isis.
And funny enough, Loki from Norse mythology as well.
Loki had a whole baby one time.
He was a horse, but at the same time, he got home.
Yeah, and he just didn't talk about it when he got home. He was gone for like 3 years.
I mean, Zeus, he had a child out of his head and his stats. So I mean,
but Bugs and Lola has a good point. Like, I was about to speak about, like, some Native American nations had two spirits people, which we that are not a part of the nation might categorize, not imperfectly, but would categorize as non-binary. But being two-spirited was so much deeper because they tended to be respected as shamans, as sacred people, etc., in their communities. And there's pictures going back to, like, when photographs first were invented of two-spirit people and non-binary people. It was widely accepted. And again, you got the crushing weight of Christianity, not only telling that their language is wrong, their color is wrong, their love is wrong, and then all of these people were systemically murdered because they didn't fit the binary, right? So I really, like, if we are headed for the end times and Jesus come back, I want him to just read the riot act to everybody that thought they was right, because I want them, there's a special hell for hypocrites. But
I'm ready for the fish fry.
The first fish fry sounded like it was fire, right? Just fish and loaves of bread. Everybody got a fish sandwich.
It has been a minute since I've been to a fish fry.
Yes, I'm ready for the fish fry. Since you're gonna condemn me, let's go ahead. Let's get it.
Can we get some chicken? I'm allergic to fish.
Well, every burnt offering is just a cookout. Like, I specifically asked this question one time because I was like, okay, so they've been doing these sacrificing animals and the burnt offerings and everything. I was like, you are burning animal flesh What you doing with it then? And so I asked one of my friends who's a priest, okay, so talk to me about, he's a Protestant priest, he's not Catholic, but I was like, talk to me about these burnt offerings. I was like, that's a cookout, ain't it? And he's like, yeah, for all intents and purposes, yes. They would go, and that's why the bigger your offering, the more forgiveness you got, because capitalism.
Right.
But you know, if you slaughtered a dove for a small thing, you might slaughter a pig for a big thing. But once you start slaughtering pigs and goats, and you burn the meat, you're cooking the meat, and then they ate it.
Yeah.
Because it was a cookout. You know.
Thank God for bacon.
Amen. Amen.
We're not even going to talk about it goes good with everything. I know somebody greasing their scalp when I hear it. You know. But so before we get off of this subject, I wanted to talk to you all about what are y'all watching? Like, I was gonna say, what are you into? I was like, nope, that's too broad.
I'm about to say, wait a minute now, because you gotta clean it up.
Because we did have another question. You know what? It's far enough back that I don't think anybody knows. There was a question that Mark, you put in the chat. Did you want to talk about that, or was that just a random question?
It's just a random question.
Okay, so it's not a topic to the
No. Okay. But if you want to ask it, why not?
I'm messy. Yes.
I've been waiting. Let's go.
So the question that was posed earlier, no pun intended, was what is trade?
Let
me go first.
Etymology of trade.
Say what?
It's very deep. Am I coming? Can y'all hear me good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because as an old gay, that word has been places. Okay, it's been featured in movies. But at its first core, it was somebody that did something for money.
You traded services.
Traded service, first and foremost. And because of a lot of queer people getting kicked out of their family, you were straight, but you did things with whoever.
So that's interesting. You were you identified as straight.
You were identified as straight.
Okay. So Malcolm X was straight at one point.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
You sure was?
Yes, he was.
Evan is like, really? We're going to? Yes, we're doing. Malcolm X was straight, and Martin Luther King used to cheat on his wife. Ain't nobody perfect.
That's right. That's right. Nobody was perfect. That's right.
With a white woman.
That's right. Tipping.
Little white woman.
Hello.
Tipping on folks. Yep.
Y'all know how nobody would listen to them nowadays if they knew that, you know?
I mean, we have the FBI files. It's public.
Understand what the word.
And it's interesting they were being hunted by another closeted individual because Hoover was wearing dresses on weekends when nobody looked.
You know, isn't it ironic, the irony of it all?
But that speaks to self-hate and misery. If I was talking to someone earlier today about misery loves company, and it's not that they want you to keep them company; they want you to be miserable too.
Yes.
And so, this idea of being a quote unquote grown up means you have to give up what brings you happiness because adults aren't supposed to be happy. They're supposed to just go to work and come home and be miserable. And if you out here shining and being happy and living your truth, you're not miserable. And I got to do what I need to do to make sure you understand that you should be miserable.
And I stay far away from people like that.
Yeah, that's capitalism, though.
It's one of the reasons that pride is named pride, because the idea of being proud of who you are was seen as ridiculous. Like, how dare you? You should be ashamed. You should just, pray for forgiveness every day, whatever. Like, no, I'm proud of who I am. That idea became the name of, the movement.
And same thing with, as adults going to nerd cons,
with
doing
adult
cosplay, a few people at my job, know that I cosplay, and I don't share my social media at work because I work with a lot of boomers, and it's the conversation goes left quick, right? And it's just that the questions you get, it's like, you really play video games and everything? Look, you made life choices. I made life choices. I'm sorry that your life choices made you miserable. I'm sorry. You have a spouse, kids, that you hate. And I don't. So this brings me joy. So we all had the same options of choosing to do, but yeah, this brings me joy. Dressing up as fantasy characters or video game characters, or getting with my friends playing adult dress up. Let's break it down. Playing adult dress up. And with adult money.
Come on, adult money.
Yes,
I can afford a real costume.
Say it again.
The thing about it is that you deserve to bask in your joy in peace.
Yes.
In peace.
Yes. Thank you.
Ooh,
so what are some of y'all's most favorite cosplays that you've done?
I'll go. I think the most fun one for me was actually getting. I did Toad, I did a Blue Toad. So, and I think the most part about me doing that is because being that I'm not the most athletic build person, and I'm an average built guy, or whatever. I say I got a dad bod per se. Being able to do that and walk around shirtless and be able to, be able to be myself authentically for a moment, and then have a few eyes because my skin was glistening because I had put that body oil on. It was shining up. It was really
gotta have shine.
You know what I'm saying? It was fun.
Yes.
And then the thing of the matter was, I think that was a breathtaking moment for me because, like, okay, now I can find and tiptoe into other cosplays that I've been wanting to do, even just for even gender being about to decide to do that. So it has been fun. And I will say my first really, really introduction to cosplay would have to be a MomoCon that I went, my very first MomoCon, and I cosplayed as Beast Boy. I didn't do the makeup and all that. I didn't do the makeup at the time because I don't know nothing about putting no green paint and
body
all that
paint.
stuff
Yeah.
on. No, I don't know about that now because I have sensitive skin and I ain't got time for all that. So I ain't gonna mess all that up. But however, I will say me being a blue toad, especially when I put my own twist on it, because I had blue earrings, I had blue mushroom sunglasses.
Okay.
So and doing it with blue Chuck Taylors on instead of the brown shoes, I think. Yeah, so definitely, indeed, that was a fun one for me.
Okay.
Speaking of the body paint, I just last year finally felt like I really kind of was happy with my Mystique from X-Men. I've been trying to nail that down for like 7 years. And like the first time I used grease paint, it got on everything and it was a completely different color than the like suit. And then, I tried like just a little bit of paint, but a lot of times it would look stupid. And I finally got a face paint that actually like didn't come off on my gloves and didn't like it came off on the collar a little bit, but not a ton. And I mean, I had some general con snafus, like the sole of one of my shoes came off and little skulls were popping off my belt because I was wearing it all day, but I still looked good. And it was a very exciting moment of like, I think I finally got this. Like, I think I actually look good in this cosplay.
Awesome. And it does take time. And, the 7 years worth of iterations cost money. And as you were saying, Dr. Holmes, like around, we make choices. Some choices were, taken out of our control. Like I'm 51, single, never married, no kids. You know what I got? I got tickets to different cities. I just went to my first K-pop concert that cost me all
passport stamps, multiple passports,
multiple passport stamps.
Don't gotta worry about no babysitters.
None.
No babies. I'm not a babysitter. Don't leave my house is not childproof. It
is not at all. Don't bring your kids to my house.
They're gonna get some Ray and nephews. So watch yourself. Ray and nephews is brain is
yes.
Just kidding. But
go ahead.
For me, I've done Queen Charlotte for the last couple of years, and now that my gray is growing in, it's going to be a little easier to get the headpiece and stuff on because I don't have to try to do too much. But I get your point, Beauty, about iterations. Like my first one was like a little raggedy dress off of Amazon, and then the next year I did some stitching and editing myself to try on a different dress to make it bigger. And my hair was still just the afro, and so if I do it again, I want to get something big. I want to put like a swan in the middle of it. and really overdo the headpiece to make it like this tall, and then do a better dress with a better bustle. So I look more. I want to look expensive. And
Yes, yes,
yes. So, but you got to do that with adult money. Well, anybody else? Right. What has been y'all's other favorite cosplay?
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
For me, it is my first cosplay was a Party City version. This was God, I want to say this was like 15 years
ago. Shout out to Party City.
Yes, shout out to Party City. Shout out to Joanne's too.
Yeah, and R.I.P. Joanne's. Yeah,
R.I.P. Joanne's. And it was a Party City cosplay of Scorpion, because my favorite video game is Mortal Kombat. So, and then
behind you, I just noticed that. Okay.
Yeah, and what really got me started was when I made my first from scratch a complete armor set of Tyrael from the Diablo video game series, and I wore that at the very first Blerdcon in I want to say 2017.
I think it was around 2017 because I was at the very first Blerdcon.
Yes,
I had a panel there.
Yeah, and then my most quote unquote famous cosplay is of course, Sub-Zero, and and I have put in tons of work into him, and from prop making to electronics to art and to etching and sketching and sewing. This was Sub-Zero was my it combined every aspect of what cosplay is, from working with electronics, making clothes, foam smithing, and sewing, because sewing is my hardest. It's hard for me. And also I honed my 3D printing skills to understand, make my mask, also detailing and painting of my props and everything. And that's why I always, everywhere, every con I go, I'm always as Sub-Zero, because I always bring the one who brought me to the party, and Sub-Zero brought me to the party.
Dance with the one that brung you. That's right. An old Southern phrase. Yeah,
that's right.
Ebony? For me and stuff, I just want to say I've never been to any conventions or anything. Mark been telling me good things, and just hearing all y'all input and stuff, it definitely encouraged me to, try to attend one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's fun.
You would make a great blade. I'm just saying.
Yes,
yes, you would. Been into like, cosplay and stuff like that. For me, Spider-Man has always been, one of my favorites, even though, just in the bedroom, never made it to a convention or whatever, but, that's another story. Also, I did Jax and stuff like that,
Mortal Kombat, yeah.
Whatever. So, yeah. But definitely, like I said, loving the input on, people experiences and stuff going to these conventions, because that's something that I look forward to doing in the near future.
And I might want to, and I just want to add one thing. When I first started attending cons, it was not very welcoming to Black people at all. So I want to, on this podcast, on these Beyonce's internet, as they like to say, I want to give a special shout out to all those conventions that center Black spaces, Black people. The Blerd cons, the Dream cons, the Afro Comic cons, the Schoenberg Harlem Comic Festival, all those cons, big and small, the East Coast Comic Con in Philly that centers us, because let me tell you, 15-20 years ago, it was hard to see Black people in those spaces. It really was, and in particular, I first saw Black people in nerd spaces at Star Trek conventions. Because a lot of Black people, Black women will dress up as
Uhura is so important.
Yes, and she's a cultural icon. She is what got Uhura is what got me into STEM. Yeah, and there's a story behind it. This and people like. People don't understand that the cultural impact. See the cultural impact that influences a generation and generations to come.
Even though I was talking greasy about Martin Luther King a second ago, because he did cheat on his wife, but he still did a lot of amazing things. One of them was convincing Nichelle Nichols to stay on that show because he understood the impact she was having on so many people that didn't even know that they could be in space. That was for somebody else. We were supposed to just go work a factory job, and it allowed people to dream. Dragon Con in the 90s had like everybody from Georgia Tech and like 5 Black people. Right. But Ebony, I wanted to ask you about, you had something to say about, was it about your cosplay?
Yes, it was. To name a couple of cosplays, I like to do a bit of the nicher cosplays or lesser known cosplays. But I've actually done, which is the first queer representation that I've seen in anime, is Grail Sutcliffe from Black Butler. I styled the wig. I got everything from the thrift store, ironically, and like that was like one of my best cosplays. Also, if you're familiar with PBS Kids, Between the Lines to be specific, I've done Cliffhanger. That was one of my favorite cosplays. That was one that I've always said that I wanted to do because who wasn't raised up on PBS Kids?
Right.
Like, and let's see, I can't.
Shout out to Jolene.
Yeah, Jolene. That was a good one. I don't know. I guess I will say Jolene. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I got another idea for you, Mookie. If you remember Schoolhouse Rock back in the day, they had an action hero called Verb. Yeah. And he had the most bomb-ass like theme song. If you get that song on playing on the radio and dress up as Verb, I promise you'd be the king of the court. I promise.
Ironically enough, I'm trying to get to Dragon Con this year because it's a cosplayer that hosts PBS Kids photo shoots specifically. And I've been trying my best to go because I've never run Cliffhanger to a con at all. So,
do you live here in Atlanta?
No, I live in Alabama.
Close enough. Holla at me offline because I might have an extra registration that I could pass over. I don't know how that all works. I'm not promising anything just yet, but we can put you there this year.
Look at Joy.
I feel like running.
Joy. Look at this.
And that just factors into the point that I wanted to make earlier. There are so many ways that we're able to find our tribes. It's just like, and that's to piggyback on Mark's experience with Chris's friends, it's definitely it's one of those things. Is the reason why we're so close knit is because we found each other. We were able to relate to the same experiences. We were able to relate in our same like upbringings and stuff like that. And even with our fandoms and things like that. And cons are a great place to find people like that. And they're even just niche down. Just put in the sand filter and you find the one. It's like there are cons specifically meant for like for gay gamers, for gay nerds, those like. So if you're looking for something specific, as opposed to like Dragon Con where everybody's welcome, you just want to focus on something so that you can find your niche and find the people associated with it. You can do that nowadays, and that's great.
And I do like that, even though Dragon Con is kind of all over the place, that they started doing those tracks where you've got like the Silk Road track and the what are you laughing at, Mark?
Dragon Con is all over the place. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
But I love it though.
They do try to have like tracks for specific things, like an Asian and K-pop track and diversity track, which is mostly Black people. Then there was the LGBTQ track, a Doctor Who track, or a Britain track. Like they tried to give some of that specificity. It wasn't perfect, but at least it was a jumping off point to find other people in your tribe so that y'all can learn about some of those other concepts that are going on that maybe people don't know about, so it can be a jumping off point. Speaking of, anybody else, before I forget, anybody else have a cosplay they want to talk about that they like?
Baba Yaga?
She talked about Mystique, but anything else?
Yeah.
I mean, I also have like 35,000 Power Rangers cosplays. I have this one right here. Really, really fun to wear. I've got one of the first full season female Red Ranger team leader.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've got like 30 Power Rangers cosplays. One of my favorite ones actually is, I don't know if y'all remember the mini series in like 1995. It was Alien Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Alien.
Yeah, the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. The Aquatarians,
yeah, when they're out of their suit and they have like lumpy brain heads with a half face mask. I made that like prosthetic. That was the first prosthetic I ever made.
That's awesome.
It shrank a little, so it definitely like crushes my face when I'm wearing it, but it's worth it because it's just like I made this. I got like pillow stuffing in the top. Just cosplay,
and it really brings out your latent talent that that's always been there. But when you actually focus, take the time out to just really focus, laser focus, you create just amazing things. It's just I look back at all my cosplays. I'm like, I did that. You get to say that you did that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. And granted, everyone doesn't have they don't have the wherewithal or the financial means to invest in the equipment and the time, et cetera, or learning the actual skill set. But still, when you use your hands and you draw out something, it just, and you stencil and you just, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing feeling, and no one can take that from you.
Exactly.
I want to touch on something related but completely different, and that is dating in this environment. I sent something. I sent something to some of my homeboys the other day, and it was two guys in a bar. And they were trying to rap the two girls. And this one guy says, jokingly, trying to embarrass his friend, he's like, this dude likes anime, right? Like trying to turn the girls off. And they were like, yeah, everybody likes anime. Well, you don't like anime? And so the tables are turned. He's like, I like anime. I love anime. And then the dude that he was trying to embarrass, like, name one. He's like, you know I love anime, dude. Come on. He's like, no, name one. One slice.
One slice. That's crazy work.
A solid effort was made.
Oh yeah, it's
But I love the idea that now it's more unusual for you not to watch anime than to watch it. We've seen mainstream sports figures doing, jujitsu stuff on the field, doing power balls, doing poses. He did play himself.
Classic.
One slice.
He tried to say it was a prequel to One Piece. It was a prequel to One Piece, One Slice. But we see it happening more often. But when it comes to dating, when you are, you're clearly talking to somebody that you probably don't know, relative stranger that you met, however you met them, there's the sharing of your gender expression, and then the sharing of your sexuality, and then the sharing of all the weird nerd shit that you're into, stuff that you're into. So how have you found that to be? Is anybody on here married? How does your spouse deal with your nerding out with your adult money? Like, has that even been an issue? Like, being into stuff that some people may accept your color and accept your sexual orientation and your gender expression, but then be like, ugh, you watch Dragon Ball? Like, that could be a deal breaker for somebody. So how has that been for anybody who want to?
Ebony got something to say. Ebony got something to say.
Ebony, you go, then I'm gonna come after you.
I find it funny that you mentioned this because, ironically enough, both me and my partner, we are very nerdy. His thing is Yu-Gi-Oh! And all of that kind of stuff, Kingdom Hearts specifically, and I'm more so into like the romance animes and K-pop, and that's kind of where he draw the line at K-pop. But it's a compromise. It's a compromise. Although it's some stuff that I don't necessarily like that he's into, but we find a common ground where it's like, I may not like it, but I'll tolerate it.
Yeah. And I think that's a healthy relationship. My mother liked playing cards and my dad liked going fishing. They didn't have to always do it together, but they respected each other.
Right.
Rom-com anime is lit. And
They
so are
are.
K-dramas. I'm all into K-pop, K-dramas, anime, all things that are not in English. It's awesome.
It's all things.
Joy,
I'm
I have
guessing
a
you went to go see Stray Kids.
Joy.
The light stick is right back here. Yes.
Joy, you should look into Turkish dramas because a coworker of mine, she loves Turkish dramas.
Oh, Thai dramas are good too.
Thai dramas are good too. Thai
seen a
dramas
couple Thai dramas.
are amazing.
Fire,
It is woo.
But wait,
Well-
let's Isaiah, I cut you off. You were about to say something.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Yeah, when it comes down to dating in this space, well, first of all, I'm single, and it is what it is, by choice. Now, granted, while I would love to find somebody in the community that I could potentially date, the problems that I run into when I meet other, I would say, Black men that are in the same space as me and that identify as queer, the thing becomes that while you are attractive, I'm not into you because I am only into white men.
Man, Isaiah, you better come say that
Yeah.
shit. Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm only into white men, or the furthest you will go further you will go into seasoning would be somebody who is of Hispanic descent.
Did you say seasoning?
Yes.
Seasoning, yes.
I want to be
Yes.
this only speck of pepper in this entire sea of salt, and you're ruining it for me.
Right, exactly. So and it hurts me so bad because I'm like, dude, I see you, you see me, and it's like I'm not even. It's to the fact that I can't even have a decent conversation with you, and then immediately you shut me down. Like, and it hurts so bad because number one, I'm already in a niche community. I'm already was dealing with this as a kid, where I was being, kind of like traumatized from being like bullied because you had to come in with the cup and all these other things, and then trying to go into the space of trying to find an actual partner who wants to, who likes what I like, and who enjoys going to conventions and things. Like, I'm gonna be honest, it's harder for me to bring somebody that's not of the community into the community, especially if they have no knowledge, because then again, you run the risk of, number one, them being judgmental.
Right.
Yeah.
And then two, being that they're inexperienced, and then three, the fact that they're so closed-minded and don't want to learn anything. So yeah, I will say there may be a point where I may end up finding somebody that is Black that's into me, like I might be into them that wants to date me. But however, until then, I really wish that. But I had to unlearn that too, because like it could be the fact that maybe regional differences. Some people from all the way from California, if the majority of what you saw was white, interracial. I mean, I can't knock that. But however, when you raise deep down way in the South, when you're looking for a Black man and are interested in dating a Black man and want to do that, it's like, and especially in the nerdy culture, it's like, bruh, it's so depressing. I'll just be like, you know what, screw it. Let me just go on, I go watch. That's why sometimes even when I'm at cons or whatever, I would simply just leave the con early enough so I go watch Tusi and Gallivant at the other bars with the other I'm sorry. Let me
right. We get you.
Like even when I go to Atlanta, trust me, believe me, there's the one famous spot for majority of the Black queer gays congregate is Bulldogs. So when I leave a con, go to see the Bulldogs, give me 2 cheap drinks, and I leave early enough before they start getting to fighting. Then I come on out.
That is so real.
I mean, and
is it a scheduled fight? So
it it's part of the entertainment. It has to be.
No. I'm gonna tell you how you know. I'm gonna tell you how you know. It's a shift in the spirit. That's all you need to do. Read the room. You have we as nerdy people have a very strong sense of spirit of discernment. We know what to look for. We knew when some food is about to go on.
Pressure starts to shift in the room.
I promise you, I've done it before. Niece, they finna get fighting, niece. I got to go.
Yes.
And I don't know what your name is and stuff, but I definitely can feel where you're coming from when it comes to dating and stuff. Because, I don't fit the exterior of a nerd. You feel what I'm saying? But if you come to my house, you would know that I'm a nerd. Like, I got a whole game room in there. love gaming, love anime, love all that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? But outside looking in, nobody would ever know that.
Mm-hmm.
Before this conversation, I used to ask myself, like, damn, where they be kicking it at? Where they, you know, where all them at? You know what I'm saying? Where the good boys at? But thanks to y'all just confirmed that. So, you know.
Yeah,
but
like, it's
also
hard,
now,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
'Cause
I am
Yeah.
40
Who is
and
throwing
single
little people?
for a reason. And the chair
Wait a
get
minute.
tossed at once at Bulldogs.
Probably yes.
Bulldog definitely ain't
That
you know, we call that.
Man.
You know, they call that the nursing home, right?
Really?
You might lie.
Well, I mean,
might
I am
run into
51.
anything there. You might run into somebody walking with a walker, wheelchair, anything. We
Well,
call it
you know the
nursing
kid, where you know the kids don't want to go gallivant. You know they still young and hard, so you know.
Yeah.
home. Well, they
Yeah,
just
that-
go there
Your
because
sugar granddaddy.
drinks is
Yeah.
cheap, but you know,
and
it's a nursing home though.
and so and also I'm glad because I've seen a lot of the dating drama and everything in this space, you know, queer nerdy spaces, black nerdy spaces go sideways quick, and people are so quick to put everything on the damn internet instead of just talking about it face to face like the adults that we are.
Yeah.
I cannot have outside forces, you know, in my relationship telling me some rando on some internet somewhere that, you know, you did wrong, you shouldn't do this, or you should be with me and blah, this person is a hoe, that, this, and a third. I'm just, no. I would love to find someone in this space, but the reality dictates that it you know, with social media, how, you know, people are quick to just air their grievances out to random strangers versus their partner that you are intimate with, that go home with and sleep in the same bed with every night, you know, but you rather talk to some.
But I think
all on threads talking about relationship threads. Yeah. Guess what my partner did today? Did you talk to him about it?
Right. Like,
I'm talking to you about it.
Collectively take responsibility in that, because y'all gotta keep it real. When you scrolling and stuff like that, when you see something positive, half the time you ain't gonna click on that. You see some fighting going on or some drama, that's what you clicking on. You feel what I'm saying? So I think everybody collectively take a big part of that, especially when it comes to the community. But we responding to what we sharing. You know what I'm saying?
And also to Isaiah, to you mentioned, you touched on it, colorism and body shaming and everything. I, like you, Isaiah, I have a dad bod. I do not walk around conventions, you know, in a Zentai suit, you know, showing off everything, or shirtless or nothing like that. I don't do that. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
All right, so I've been holding this in, but I feel kind of out of place because I almost like exclusively work within the nerd space for dating, things like that, and I'm a little disturbed because one, like, forgot who said it, but dad bod, that's in now. And when you go to like these right, like dad bods are in now, and when you go to a convention and all the thick chubby dudes just cosplaying, they titties out, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm in heaven, but I can't do anything because like straight people have infiltrated the space, and now I don't know who's who, and I just gotta figure it out.
So that's when
your radar is off whack.
So that's when you go to the LGBT nerd convention, where you'll find so you'll find them, and it's like, maybe I can touch.
No.
Cosplay is not consent.
No, it's not.
That's
even
true. That's true. I'm just saying.
No, not that.
But you can ask.
It's the fact that
You definitely ask.
let's call them out, FlameCon. You know, and you do not see brothers like Mark, built like Mark.
That's true.
Or Isaiah or myself running around, you know, free and no. It is a certain aesthetic there, and they have culture. They have cultivated, I should say, that aesthetic.
Well, that even goes back to even before it's like us outside in the nerd space and going to 10 prides.
Yes.
Like I'm,
yes.
like I'm not a
Yes.
shameless plug because I'm gonna do what I'm gonna say. I went to my very first Pride, and it was on one magical weekend in Orlando, and I experienced what it was like being a black man on the outside because seeing like even me going up to like prime example, even me just going up to just the other black people in the space, they were it'll get away from me. Like, dude, if I
Right.
see you, you see me, and this is the
Right.
crazy part about it. Why you're disowning me, and even the other people, persons of other race, why you're disowning me when I walk back in this hotel lobby, and now you're trying to sneak in my room. Why
Man,
should
if you don't quit, if you don't quit playing in my motherfucking bro,
like, excuse me, I mean, how can you? First of all, you don't want to be with me in public, but you want to be with me in private. First of all, I'm not your
I hate that. I hate that. Oh my god, I hate that.
I'm not your I'm not your fantasy. I'm not what you look. No. And on top of that, like prime example, even with the space of, and since I'm here, I'm gonna go there. What even with queer people, especially on the men dating side, with men who MSM, same gender loving,
right?
Like especially the black men, they would typically go for. And I'm using Mookie for an example. That's what they like. That's what they're aesthetic. That's what they want. Okay.
That's what I was about to say though, which is crazy because you know when y'all say that you don't see the typical thick guy doing this or thick woman doing that, that's really what's in. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do it for the most. You know what I'm saying? So you know, don't.
I mean, let's keep it for real. It goes all the way back to Freaknik.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
I
mean,
be
we would love to see it.
But
We sure would love to see it, and I know I speak for a lot of people when I say that. You know what I'm saying? Get loose. It's 2025. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to break the ice. Somebody got to start breaking the ice. Come on now, people.
Yeah, be bold.
Be bold. Absolutely. Shoot your shot, right? Shoot your shot.
Be who you are.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Being comfortable in your skin.
Yes.
First, before you put on clothes, any type of fabrications, makeup, before you do a facial, any of that, you know what I'm saying? You got to be comfortable in your own skin first. First and foremost.
You're out here wilding, y'all.
First and foremost.
But Mookie, you said a mouthful when you said be comfortable in your own skin because across all sectors, confidence is always sexy.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you like. Whatever it is that you like looks better when they like themselves. And so often, you know, I know I've gone through that myself too, like, you know, dealing with my outfit because maybe my fat roll is showing, or, you know, maybe I should have done something different with my hair, or, you know, my nails aren't long enough, or maybe I should put on makeup and blah, all this other nonsense. When I run to the store in a house dress and flip-flops with my pedicure not quite new,
and
that's when I meet somebody, or somebody want to holler at me or whatever. Or if I'm at a red light, this dude was like,
and you know why that is,
I drove away.
You know why that is? I just want to speak on that because I get asked that a lot of times. Because my mama be asking me that question. She be like, well, why is it when, you know, I'm looking my worst, that's when I end up running across a good man? Because a good man gonna see that potential in you out the gate. It ain't about what the exterior look like. He's supposed to see through and pass all that. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know you're dealing with a real one out the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Matter of fact, if I had this dude approach me at the grocery store, and his shot was, you know, you'd be pretty if you just dropped a few. Thanks. Moved away, bro. You're not the one. I don't even know why you talking.
Why are you even in my face?
There's a whole narcissistic personality manipulation tactic.
You need to write it done.
People will insult you and see how you react to it, or they give you like that backhanded compliment to see how you react. If your reaction is you think so, or I'm working on it, or something to try to please them, then they know that they can turn you into a people pleaser for them. If you are, you know, comfortable and confident in yourself, and you ain't falling for the okie doke, your response is, you know, two deuces, you know, count to two and take one away.
That's
and let them know that I'm not the one. Beauty, I thought I saw you lean in a little bit.
I can't believe people are still like negging as a flirtation thing. Like, say, that's the stupidest thing ever. Like, insult someone and hope they like it. It's such a based, manipulative, narcissistic, like, if anyone ever tries to like bring your confidence down or say a backhanded comment or anything like that, do not date that person.
Red flag.
It's going to be an abusive relationship. It just is.
Red flag.
Yes. And people that got their game from a man. And the reason I say it that way is because I respect Tupac, and he said, you know, you got your game from a woman. But people who didn't and don't know how to speak to someone they're romantically involved in or romantically interested in, because it doesn't have to worry about gender. I'm taking too long to say this. What I mean is a lot of people learn that manipulative behavior from some authority figure in their life, whether it was a parent or an older cousin or, you know, mom, dad, uncle, grandfather. Somebody told them this is how you do it because it worked for them, but they worked for them in a whole different generation, whole different society. It don't work no more, which is why I think we see so many people talk about how lonely they are. They're not lonely because there's not people out there. They're lonely because they're jerks.
Yeah.
Nobody want to date them.
And always
Right.
Correct. It always start with the root. And sometimes, you know, it's crazy how sometimes you mistake loneliness with peaceful, with peace in general. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you feel lonely, but it's really peace. You know, it's a lot of drama that comes with, you know,
true.
stuff like that. So you know,
you're not gonna mess up what I got going on. You're not gonna bring that crazy weird energy into my because yes, at all. Absolutely.
Mabel Simmons said it best. I'd rather be happy. I'd rather be happy with a puppy and a goldfish than to be sitting here worried about you. Miserable.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. Like I'm single by choice right now, but I don't have to be. But at the same time, like Atlanta's very messy. Most of the guys here either just want hookups or they want to be friends with benefits or whatever. And they don't want nothing serious or put labels on things. And I'm like, that's fine. That was cool in my 20s, but like I'm almost 40. I kind of want something more, at least the hope. Like even if we just dating, like just the hope that something could happen. So I'm not wasting my time.
Or we could build together, build something together,
right.
Because we had an age where we have grown man money. You know what I mean? And man.
I definitely
Mark, I hear you, brother, man.
Dating is
this
crazy.
adult money is gonna keep coming up and hunt me.
Yes, it is.
Like Mark said down here in Atlanta, boy, the dating is, I mean, it's a total different ball game. Like most of the time I get guys that shut me down because I say I'm dating to be a husband, not dating to be a boyfriend. Right. I'm 38 years old. I ain't got time to
Amen. I hear you.
You about to move in and I'm about to hold you down and keep you independent, or I'm about to move in and start paying your bills.
That's right, because my boyfriend years are were in my 20s. I'm 40. Yeah.
This is 180 degrees for me because I'm single by choice. And because I'm 51, look, I ain't trying to get married. I am trying to mess up my assets and my retirement funds because I'm locked and loaded. I got adult money. I'm that chick. And so, look, we can go do something over here, and I ain't never got to see you again because I'm in that era of my life. I'm in my second whole phase, right?
Joy.
Right?
Yes.
No, you ain't in your whole phase.
But I'm finding dudes who are in their early 60s, that are trying to holler whatever, because it's like a 10-year difference. Looking for somebody to take care of them in their old age. I ain't the one. I'll roll you into the living room and forget about you.
It's so much of that. Like I can't get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I was raised with that woman game. You know what I'm saying? Man don't work, man don't eat. Even though I was being raised to be with a woman, you treat a woman like this and that. I apply that to a man, right?
But to somebody you love. Yeah,
exactly. So when it comes to certain things, it's just like, how is you not working? How is you not, how is your main goal is to feed off of somebody else? I just never got it. You know what I'm saying? And it's people that's older than me that's still doing that. I done had friends, people close to me, and people that done tried to come in and use me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy how much of that is, especially in a lifestyle. And I'll be, and I just want to say this, and I'm gonna shut up about it. Especially, no shade, but bottoms and stuff. Y'all that had an infatuation with wanting to quote unquote turn out a straight man. Y'all really need to be careful what y'all doing, because it's a whole group of individuals that's aware of y'all infatuations and they will target y'all. That's why people is out here getting robbed, and you got all these hate crimes going on because of them type of situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta always be aware of these things. But I just want to put that out there.
Oh, my chest.
I know. You said a whole lot. I'm here for it though. Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
just keeping it real. I'm just
And we love it. And we love it. Thank you. And we thank
But
you.
no,
trying
but we
to
got to be
quiet
careful.
during this
Yes.
interview for
Are
a
they
reason.
targeting bottoms
I
specifically,
already know.
or just like?
No, I'm just talking about, I ain't, like I said, no shade or whatever. I'm just talking about in general. That's,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
They target anybody that'll fall for it.
That's true. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's true. That's true.
it. That's it.
Okay, so I have gotten the warning of we run a little bit long on time. So I did want to ask one final question. This one we're gonna end on a high note.
Mm-hmm.
What are you watching right now? What are you playing right now? And I was about to ask something real sacrilegious. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I mean,
no, who win? So who you win in a fight? Like Jesus or Goku? Like let's take it there.
We're doing
but anyway,
this. Okay.
Are we really about to do that?
no, we're really not about to do that. I was joking.
Okay.
But unless you want to answer it, but what are you watching, like from a nerdy standpoint, sci-fi, anime, etc.? What's got you excited about the series, if you will?
I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I'm watching Lazarus.
Lazarus?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't heard of Lazarus.
Shinichiro Watanabe, who did
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop, the person who did Michiko the Hachi. Lazarus is the latest one, and I love it so. It's literally the story goes.
It does look like Cowboy
the
Bebop.
wonder drug, and the wonder drug is literally going to kill people in like.
Yes, that is a good. Yes, it is. Episode 2 hooked me.
Yes.
Episode 2 hooked me. Yes,
it's very good.
Okay.
The black representation in it.
Yes.
It's Shinichiro Watanabe. He always done that. It's a really good show. It's a really good anime.
Yes.
I'm very
Yes.
excited about it. Y'all should check it out.
So I'm proud. I'm about to start that tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? What y'all got?
Especially yeah.
Well, for me, I'm a big rewatcher because I'm waiting on stuff to come out.
Right.
Something that I'm really into. I don't care how many times I've watched it, I'm gonna always fall in love with it. They did an extremely good job with Wednesday.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Wednesday was absolutely lovely. On the anime side, Assassination Classroom. Because first of all, being that I am a teacher, I was like, if I can just embody him just for a moment to service the kids that I work with, it's just indeed wonderful for me. I even showed some of my students a clip from Assassination Classroom, and hence why anytime we playing classroom games, I always name myself Koro Sensei. Even with my with the nonprofit group that I work with out of Birmingham, shout out to Blerdography Incorporated. That's my nickname on the back of my jersey, Koro Sensei, because I think of myself as the unkillable teacher. So however, but other than that, for as video games go, honestly, I've lost the interest in playing again. And I'm gonna be
yeah.
Well, the one that not only I got time is because number one, the companies and the developers of these video games have lost the point. Like I miss I miss the days where I could put my game system on and actually put my memory card in and actually get to work on the game and go, you know what I'm saying, and unlock stuff and feel rewarded. Nowadays, if I pay I can buy the base game for $65. Then if I pay another $100 and some odd dollars in microtransaction, I can get the whole game.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, that's what happens. You have NBAs running game companies.
I don't want DLCs cost like, bro. I don't want that. That's why I miss the. And another thing that I miss about gaming is because I miss the community aspect of it too. Like, no, not online. No, not with the headset or none of that. I'm talking about you pull up at your homeboy house, y'all got an N64 and 4 controllers lined up. And y'all playing and put a Mario Kart 64 on my classic favorite GoldenEye.
Right. And Malik said it best. Tim Burton and his tasteful token in Wednesday. You know, because if you know Tim Burton, you know. You know him and black people, you know.
Yeah. So, but however, like I said, it's more so like even with now what I'm waiting, like I said, I'm waiting on the third season of P Valley whenever they get finished with that. I'm still waiting on some other little nuanced things. I just finished Genie in Georgia, which gave me another nuanced look to something I need to look into, which is even more on the deeper side of mental health and whatnot, because especially with men, like I said, dealing with kids. But I do wish that I could challenge some creators, to anime creators, to go deep and decide to do something that never been done. I'm looking for an HBCU anime.
Ooh. Yes. I've been.
I want to see one, because if we didn't, because they're trying to like they're on the process of now redoing A Different World with Dwayne. They're in the process of shooting it now. I didn't ask for that. You know what I'm saying? It's cute to see their son or daughter or a person or whatever they're raising in their household go to an HBCU or whatnot. That's cute.
You can't Fuller House everything.
But you can't Fuller House everything. I would love to.
That's
like,
true.
That's true. Give me something, because I'm gonna be honest about it. There are a lot of books, people, black creators that are black writers that would do tremendous work with this, and black artists. Like I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a black artist that was at Ranger Stop. He was right beside the Tuskegee Airs or whatnot. He draws all these great black artwork. I'm gonna put his name in the chat once I get it, trying to find it. But people like that,
Marcus Williams?
I think that's what the name is. Marcus Williams.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most definitely. Like that stuff. That's what I want to see. Like I want to see somebody. I want to see a good HBCU anime, and it can be done, because there's a lot of us. There are a lot of black people and black persons of color who are interested in seeing, especially now in the days of AI. It can be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I am into historical dramas, so I've been watching The Gilded Age. Season 3 just dropped today.
Okay.
The Godfather of Harlem, which is an amazing show on Epix or MGM Plus, and also BMF. BMF is great. Black Mafia Family on Stars. And because the new season just dropped 2 weeks ago. And also, so on a sci-fi junket, Doom Prophecy was amazing. I'm waiting for the new season of Foundation. Comes out next month. Foundation on Apple TV. And also, what was it? Shoot, it was one more show I was waiting for, a sci-fi show. I can't think of it right now. No, the Sandman season 2. Yes, on Netflix. Sandman. Yes, it comes out. It comes out July.
Okay,
July.
I can wait for that.
Yep. That's it. And also, to your point, Isaiah, about I follow this author, Ladarian Williams. This right here is amazing. If you like Harry Potter, this is basically Harry Potter goes to an HBCU in the South.
Exactly.
It is this, man. I had my doubts, but when I started, I'm just this goes deep. This is rooted in Black culture. It's nuanced. It's the characters are amazing, and the second book comes out in July 29th.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes.
I was holding off because I heard that it was the beginning and there was a sequel, and I was like, I'm gonna wait until I can read them back to back because I want to get through the whole story. So.
That's how it was when the Kane Chronicles came out.
Yes, and he's writing a screenplay, and also David Crowson is doing Harriet Tubman and the Demon Slayer, so he has something
cool
in the works, live action-ish. I don't know.
Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer style.
Yes.
I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I'm ready.
Yeah, listen. I'm telling you, it is. He did a teaser. He did a teaser on social with Harriet Tubman and Blackula meeting.
Ooh, nice.
Bro.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and also I'm a book nerd as well. I love Black authors, Black sci-fi, Afrofuturism.
Do you read Nnedi Okorafor?
Yes. and Tanner do. Yes, I read her, and Ladarian, and
Toby Abiyemi, of course.
Yes,
with her
yes,
blood,
yes.
all Children of Blood and Bone.
Yeah, and it's a movie. It'll be
Yeah.
out next year or 2 years or something.
Yeah, I think next year.
They've already got casting down, I believe. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think they're in production now.
Yes.
I don't know if I lost my K-pop friend. She ran. I just realized she's not on screen anymore. But there's a movie, a short movie called K-pop Demon Slayer.
I just watched that last night. It was so good.
It was so good. It was awesome, and the soundtrack was fire.
Oh, I got the soundtrack. I was listening to it earlier. Like, I couldn't believe how good it was.
Right.
That first song started, and I was like, okay, so this is a musical. They're not just a band. It's actually going to be a musical, and the songs are going to be really good. Because that's, I'm going to watch
that was a challenge. I was like, they're not just singing it like on stage. It's a musical, but it's really good.
Yeah.
And Twice was doing most of the vocals for the girls, and the guys were like a mishmash of stuff. But I'm a big Stray Kids fan, hence the nightstick. And they were doing a lot of Stray Kids like choreography and a lot of their archetypes. So I loved every minute of it. It was a good story.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
And see, this is what I love about Nerdy Spaces is even if 6 other people are like, I got my one.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. That's right. You're right about that.
Right. We had our little moment, and now Mufasa, what are you watching? What are you into?
Right now, like I said, I was watching Lazarus. Also, are you familiar with Apothecary Diaries?
Oh yes.
Yes.
I've been watching that.
Yes.
Jeez. I've been reading, or rather, I've been attempting to read. Where is it? Apple Black. Are y'all familiar with Apple Black?
Mm-mm.
So Adunzi Okuo. I'm going to seen his work. Y'all have seen his work. I don't know.
No, wait. Okay, I see her.
I see her.
And I've been, I picked up his manga the other day, and it's been a real inspiration for me doing my own artwork. So, it's cyber fantasy type setting.
Okay,
it's really good.
Like cyberpunk.
Less cyberpunk, more cyber fantasy in the anime sense. I've been checking that out. I like to pick up elements from different artists. So I don't know if you are familiar with. Hold on one second. Hyundai Wiley.
Say that again.
Hyundai Wiley.
Wiley.
So he pretty much did the artwork for Obama and Obama's portrait.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. I like to read a lot of like niche stuff like Skydoll. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this.
You got because of your filter or your background.
Cyberpunk than anything. That's what I've been reading, things of that nature. And then I'm also a bar artist. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Massive.
I am familiar.
Look up.
I am familiar with Massive.
It's a compilation of gay erotica art. So again, I'm trying to keep this PG, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But things of that nature. So
yeah, I might check that out. I read like a lot of vampire smut novels, so
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, what's her face has a new book. Oh my god. Yeah,
Laurel K. Hamilton.
I read a lot of
Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter.
Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter. Yes.
I read all 40 something of them books.
Yes,
they get spicier and spicier. We in big groups of people now. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But enough about me. Moving on. Beauty, Baba Yaga. What are you into? What are you reading?
My watch experience right now is very much just I'm on the grindstone. Because I'm a content creator and I do mostly Power Rangers, which is in the tokusatsu genre. So I'm trying to consume some other tokusatsu in order to make content about it. So I'm watching this Korean tokusatsu animated series called Mini Force. I couldn't find the original with subtitles or even the original without subtitles because I would just make it work. I only find the dub, and the dub is painful. It sounds like they recorded it into an old tin can, and there's no background noise, so it's complete silence. And then when a voice comes on, it's like, and then it stops.
So
and then
it's not even Ghost Stories bad.
No, it's just bad.
Damn.
Well, I'm trying to, it's also the reason I wanted to watch this because I couldn't find a cohesive thing that said it's this season, this movie, these 2 seasons, this movie. Everything's I don't know, this one has dinosaurs. I'm like, okay, but where does that fit? And so I'm trying to watch all of it so I can figure out what order it goes in and make a video about it. And the first 2 seasons have not been fun. No, I'm not having fun watching things. K-pop Demon Hunters was a beautiful reprieve from Mini Force, which,
that's good.
By the way, is beautifully animated. The animation company, there's some really cool fight scenes and some good camera angles, and they've got some really cool villains in their little suits of armor. They're all animal themed. So there's this toad guy, and the bad guy's a purple lizard suit of armor. And all that's really cool, but then over top of it, it's the crunkly little voice recording, and the plot is incredibly minimal.
Yeah. Why are you watching this?
Because I have to. My brain
you gotta finish it.
My brain is making me.
As a fellow YouTuber, I understand what you're going through.
You. I think that season 4 is actually good because I watched one episode from it and realized there were huge plot discrepancies between season 4 and season 1 and decided I had to start from the beginning in order to figure out at what point they changed physical size for no apparent reason. But anyway, so that my life is dedicated to that right now, and it's not, I don't like it.
Here's to there being no season 5. Hopefully you're just done.
Right.
Yeah, just 4 seasons, 2 movies, done.
Yes, cool. All right, LeRon, you're up. What are you watching?
Oh, right now it's less me watching things because I've spent well, if that's the case, then previously to prepare for a video essay that I'm about to actually work on pretty much once I get off the stream with you right now. I've been the latest movies I've been watching for research purposes, just to refresh my memory because it's been a while since I watched them, were Species and Jennifer's Body.
What you talking about? The first Species?
The first Species. Species 1.
Was that Megan Fox in that movie?
Megan Fox was Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's Body. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Meg Thee Stallion and she did a video with Flo Milli about Jennifer's Body. What's that music video?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would link it in chat.
Hilarious.
But
I like Meg.
I'm getting ready to watch Ironheart.
Yeah, it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Rocksteady. It's called Rocksteady.
Okay.
Okay. What you up to, Mookie?
I'm chilling. But I ain't really big on shows and stuff. But I get into anime. I ain't into it like y'all because I ain't got time to be sitting there reading all that. I wait for the English dubs. Look, I wait for the English dubs. If I check that thing out and it ain't hitting on nothing, I just be like, I just wait. That's just me. I don't like really commercials either. So, unless it's Super Bowl commercials. So I'm strictly movies. But I have got into a couple of live. I like to see the anime come to live action. So I got One Piece was good. Last Airbender was even better. You know what I'm saying? So I've been messing with them, and I ain't even realized, over the last few years, I kind of been sleeping because I seen they came out with a couple movies for Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I actually been tapping into those too. Bleach. some of the old
1,000 years
school,
war.
but that's just what it is. I ain't got time to be reading all that. I'm sorry. I'll wait. I will wait. But and another some good movies I done watched lately. Shadow Force. If you ain't seen that one, that's a real good movie to watch.
Okay.
A lot of people been sleeping on it. I don't think it really hit the theaters, but that's a real good movie. If y'all into action, crime stories and stuff like that, definitely check in with it.
Add that to my list. I'll be taking notes when y'all talk. Like, all right, gotta get this.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. You're gonna be surprised. It's a typical story, but the actors and stuff, they made it. You know what I'm saying? They made it.
Oh, Kerry Washington and dude from Lupin the Third.
Mm-hmm.
Or from Lupin is in.
Yes.
My mind immediately goes there too.
Yeah, Omar Sy. Yes, his fine chocolate.
That's how you know you were good in the movie. When we only know you by that name.
It was like what y'all looking for.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mark, bring us on. What are you watching?
Unfortunately, I'm not really watching much of anything new. As I mentioned in the live stream last Monday, I am swimming in editing, so I'm watching myself. Got a lot of cool things coming up, but I'm mainly watching myself. I am, however, preparing to start doing reviews of comics of Black artists and writers, and I'm going to start with because she's literally texting me right now. But Ms. R.J. Atkinson, her book just dropped, The Seventh Kingdom, so I'm definitely going to do a review on that. Especially since I got the little pre-order bundle, so I'm going to do a review of the whole thing. But outside of that, a few other Black creators. I know Tony Cade is about to drop his second issue of Chronicles. So I'm looking forward to stuff like that. But other than that, I'm just editing interviews and editing the 2 documentaries I'm working on now. Who said to do 2 at the same time?
Yeah, you doing the most.
Your brain is punishing you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I am watching, like I mentioned, K-pop Demon Slayer, Apothecary Diaries. I'm up to date on that one. Also watching Fire Force and Windbreakers on Crunchyroll because I like high school kids that fight. It's kind of my thing. And pretty much anything on YouTube involving my 8 Korean children, Stray Kids. I love my little K-pop band. They're fun. They make me happy. That's how I spend my adult money. But also from a video game standpoint, a couple weeks ago, I got a recommendation for, what is it called? Zao, something. I'm actually playing it right now. They still had a demo available. Tales of Kinzera. If you haven't heard of it. So Tales of Kinzera, it's a relatively short game. It's a side scroller platformer reminiscent of like a Sonic, like kind of 2D but with some 3D elements. The voices make you think you're in Wakanda. Like it's not a real African accent, but it's kind of what they did with the voices in the Marvel movies.
Right.
The artwork is great. So yeah, Tales of Kinzera. I don't know why I can't remember that. Tales of Kinzera. Zao is seems like this is going to be the first installment and potentially a series because Zao is the first. Yeah, so yeah, Dr. Holmes knows all about it, but it's really good. And it's relatively inexpensive considering how much video games cost nowadays. So I would say check that out.
Oh, yes, sir.
Midnight on Xbox and Steam. Yeah.
The point I wanted to make about that a while back when we were talking about it's like that's the main reason why I didn't really say what I was playing was like I'm not playing anything that anybody would really know because I've just been going the indie route, just like doing that, looking at people who don't want to like line up with like EA in order to like work on a game and then get fired 5 days after it comes out. They rather make their own things and do their own things, and usually those games are made with so much love and like effort. And it's just like it feels good to play them, and a lot of them are queer. A lot of them are queer. A lot of them are Black.
Where we found a place to express ourselves because you can build characters that are different from anything representative on in the world. You can make them green if you want to. Green is a popular color, but and then being able to tell a story without people judging you before they read or hear or listen.
Exactly. And the ones that do aren't the ones that we need to pay attention to begin with.
That part.
Absolutely.
So I think, what were you saying?
Absolutely.
And so that was my last question. That brings us to the end of our 2.5 hour conversation.
We did a part 2.
We're an hour over. This has been good. And yeah, you're right, Mac. It was published by EA. So I mean, sometimes they can do good, but they're still evil overlords. But they did a good thing this one time. Broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, first off, this conversation took some turns. We talk about some stuff that wasn't necessarily on my list, but I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was good. Thank you all for being so willing to be open to share your stories, your lives, your experiences, your tea, and some y'all funny. But Aerial Knight, We Never Yield. I actually played that game too, and it's a hardcore side scroller.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
yeah, but it's really cute. It's very cute, and it was like $8. So pick that up. But thank y'all for sharing your stories and everything. And so before we get out of here, I know most of you have your names on the screen, but some people are watching this on their phone. So if you would, starting with Dr. Holmes in the top left, tell us where we can find you.
You could find me mostly on Instagram at NYC Playboy. So just look me up just type in my name, and just and my Facebook is I reserve that for close friends and family. But all my content goes on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Twitter or Blue Sky. I'm just old school Instagram.
IG
and Threads. IG and Threads. Yeah.
IG and Threads. Yep. It's my happy place. Mufasa Bear.
As you can see at the bottom, my art portfolio is artofcg.com. I am, I guess, new school then, if that's the case, because I am on Blue Sky.
Okay, I had to take off my glasses and look and spell this out. So it's the art of CEGE. So the art of CG. Okay. .com. Just for people that like me can't see that on the
I am on Blue Sky at Mufasa Bear CG at Blue Sky Social. I'm on Instagram, Mufasa Bear 11, Thread, same. I'm not much on Twitter anymore, but if you want to look at some old, I'm on Twitch at Mufasa Bear 11.
Okay. So look for Mufasa Bears across multiple
platforms. Yes.
Okay. Beauty, where can we find you?
Beauty Baba Yaga on every social media that exists. YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok are my main 3. They get updated a lot, but I have a Blue Sky, I have a Lemonade, I have a fan base, I have a Red Note. I don't have X. I'm not interested in what Twitter has become. Right. And I'm trying to get rid of my Facebook, so I have like an old page on there that's like super outdated. So, but mostly Beauty Baba Yaga on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay. All right. Laurent?
You can find me at YouTube at youtube.com/@Redus101, READUS, the number 1, the number 0, the number 1. I'm the same there on Blue Sky, Redus101 at .Blue Sky, so that tag. Also trying to get off Twitter because I've learned it's time to love myself. Facebook, it's where if you're on Facebook and you want to know when I post new videos, there you go. That's the only interaction you'll get Facebook from me. But yeah, mostly YouTube and mostly Blue Sky.
Okay. Moot, what about you?
Well, pretty much on the platform. I ain't even gonna lie, I'm kind of spread out. I've been trying to be consistent with names, but I'm working on it. But for the most part, you can find me either official_Mookie or original_Mookie. On Facebook, it's just Mookie the Rapper, Mookie DA Rapper. You know what I'm saying? I'm on all the platforms as far as the music. Y'all can find me, you know what I mean? Find the music. It's always spelled with an exclamation point. MOOK, exclamation point E. I've been working on a lot of music lately and got some Afrobeat coming out for y'all too.
Okay.
And I just released my first Afrobeat song. I'm about to release another one coming up next month. Actually, me and Mark and stuff, we're going to be working on that next weekend. Hopefully, if he got the time, because I know he's a busy man. But definitely excited about that. Make sure y'all tune in with your boy for sure.
All right, cool. Isaiah will come to you.
Basically, Instagram the best way to reach me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
At agent.m.eep.
Okay, funny. So I got a shameless plug. There's a story behind my Instagram name.
Okay.
So for those that did not know, I marched at the HBCU. I was in the band at HBCU. Oh, okay. Shout out to the Alabama State University Mighty Marching Hornets, 915 South Jackson Street, Montgomery, Alabama, zip code 36104. Now,
why do all Black people know the address of the HBCU?
Because we got mail sent there.
Right. 350.
We have to know the address. It is what it is. But however, yes, that's maybe my main thing or whatnot. But as a freshman going through the, I'm not going to use the official term, what we were called. But however, as a freshman in the band, my one of my random acts of theater, per se, to appease my upperclassmen was I had to say meet the like an anchovy from SpongeBob, but I had to say it in a high pitched voice. So hence, and then being that also one of my nicknames as I wrote on my shirt was Agent P as an identifier. So yeah, because my last name is Perry, so it makes sense. Hence why my name is the way it is. So, but for it's like interaction, Instagram is the best way to get. I do have Facebook, but I used to try to keep it for the professional side and for friends or whatnot. And I'm learning to slowly wean myself off of X, but then again, I understand that X can be used in a positive way if you know what you do. I'm trying to, because when you try to connect with other Black educators and other Black anime, I mean, you got to, when you try to connect with your community, I mean, it is what it is. You got to find it, but there's a way to filter.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, Instagram, best way to get me.
All right, and once again, I'm Joy Stevens, known as Joyride08 on all the platforms where I want you to find me. So Instagram, Threads, those are where I really hang out. My feed tends to be half apocalyptic, political, and a half K-pop. So catch the right vibe. They're both there. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Okay, the last two numbers in your handle.
Yes.
Gives me. Are you Greek by chance?
I am.
Are you a lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Wow. So what organization? I'm sorry. You're a Delta.
Delta.
Okay, you're a lady of Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated. Nice. Wait a minute. That's deception.
I know. Don't let the light skin fool you.
They got me. That's what it got me. But anyway, but a lady of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Nice meeting my fellow Divine Nine sister. I'm a Greek as well. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay, go mob.
Yeah.
All right.
Go yes, most definitely. Yeah. Now, but however, I wanted to bring that up because before we leave this space, I want to clear something up real quick because there was a video that surfaced around back coming from DreamCon where somebody had recorded the members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated and they're doing their thing in their spaces. Let me be perfectly clear when I say this. If you did not like what you saw at a convention, you could have turned your camera off and walked away.
You sure the fuck can. Yep.
That's the first thing. Number two, you're not going to dictate what goes on at a Black con. You're not going to tell me that I cannot be my intersectionality. 100% who I am. I can be Black. I could be a college graduate. I can be also a member of the Divine Nine organization. And guess what? While you sit there recording with clickbait and views, like that makes no sense to me. Like you clowning us for what we doing. Like mind you, we're not taking up the entire convention. All we asked was just a little 30 seconds.
And they were asked to be there. There was a specifically asked all T9 show up over here.
Yeah, because there was an HBCU meetup at DreamCon.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
to all my fellow Divine Nine brothers and sisters that are watching, even the ones that are not Divine Nine,
Mhm.
look, you still can navigate the space and be authentically you. Because once you
Mhm.
realize, like, even when you get to your photo shoots,
Mhm.
even when you get to the black photo shoots or whatever, there's still a space for you. It's space for everybody. So
Mhm.
yeah, you're gonna be black AF in every space as you
That
should
part.
be. You don't. You
A-
shouldn't have to
a-
apologize for being authentically
As
you.
you should, yeah,
Right, and
because
that's
Divine Nine is part of Black
Black
American
culture,
culture.
right?
Culture, right?
Absolutely,
Once again, respect
Right.
versus respectability.
that's right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I one of my favorite moments that actually almost brought a little tear to me was in Dragon Con last year. It was kind of a mess. It's like I said, we're kind of all over the place. But I want to say either the Black Geeks Dragon Con or the diversity track, one of the two had a big party one night. And I'm in there at the party. There's some folks over there holding up the wall representing Wakanda. They got their whole little outfits and stuff on. It's some Qs and alphas setting out strolls over here, all in the same room with the same music. You know, they setting out a stroll over here. Over here, you got some random cosplayers playing with bubbles. Just bubbles over there on the side. And then like back here, you have a set of, and I love this because you had a set of, I'm not sure, but like white presenting non-binary kids that are just getting their dance on and they're getting hyped up by the crowd of, hey, 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 hey. And so everybody was vibing. Everybody was together, even though they may have had their little circles here and there. You know, the bubbles was here, the stepping was there, the photo shoots was over here, and then you had your little groups of random people just doing their own little thing, but everybody let everybody else live, right? Nobody was policing other sides of the room saying you're not supposed to be in here or that's not what we're about, because you can be about a lot of things and still authentic to who you are, and you can let other people also be about a lot of things. None of us is a single point. We are all three-dimensional globes, and so you know, however we turn out is who we are, and being willing to accept, you know, the whole universe is what inclusion is about. And so that is, even though, you know, there's always room for improvement, that's one of the things I really liked about Dragon Con last year was seeing everybody be all in the same spot and express themselves fully with joy and happiness, and allow everybody else to do the same thing. And that's what our goal should be. And with that, I'm going to end it out and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mark. So take us home.
Yo, this was a really good long episode of Blerdkast. So I just want to thank everybody for coming on and again just being open and telling your story. A couple of house notes again. Don't forget to subscribe to Blerdography and Moana Good. Let me say that again. And Moana Nui podcast. I would like to thank Ebony Last Cosplay. She had to leave early. But again, subscribe to Ebony Last. I'm gonna make sure all the descriptions and information is updated in the comment. But yeah, this was a fun episode. This will definitely be a part 2 because there's so many other topics and questions we didn't even get to. There was a whole segment I wanted to do about things straight people tell me that I'm just like, really, this is how y'all think? But we'll save all that for another episode. Again, you can watch Blerdkast everywhere on the internet that you watch podcasts, including YouTube, including Spotify, Google Music, Apple Music, and so many other places. Again, you can subscribe to Moana Nui podcast. Joy and Dana and James and everybody, they have so much great, amazing content over there. And don't forget, Blerdography has 2 documentaries that is working on that's going to come out eventually. Stay tuned for the Black History of Power Rangers and Black and Nerdy. Again, all that stuff is dropping soon. And next Monday is going to be a great live stream. We are doing the original gangsters in anime spaces. We're going to talk about anime cartoons and the whole buildup of the Blerd community as a whole. So if you want to watch that one, don't forget to hit that notification bell. And I'll see y'all next week.
Well, I'll be with my people and I'll be moderating that conversation as well for all the gray hair.
Yeah, you're going to be there.
Yes. All right. So thank you, everybody. So for again, if you want more content like this, we are trying to do this on a more consistent basis. So look for us, generally speaking, on Monday nights. The same place you found us tonight. We'll be back next Monday, I believe, with another podcast about it with a different group. So just keep looking for me and Mark. We'll be out here. All right. So with that, I'll ask our ever-present engineers, who I know are right on point, to go ahead and take us out. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it cedar lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.